back at me, stranger in
Welcome to LXC.
This dragon, right? They don't want to put a contingent orange on soul point, but Cherry is spotted out on the side, but we see a flag and dragon lands on Mocha. I don't think that's the target you want.
Coming in.
As CC is going to be enchanted. The enchanted arrow comes out onto Stephanie. It doesn't matter. Absolutely smoking people right now. He lands as a root onto Ash. The flag and dragon lands as a response. They're doing a great job with blind time, but it's not enough. It's Rice able to pick up this kill. Dab, he has great reign to do it, but Cherry's here now, so we might see if something ends up happening. There's a lot of continued skirmishes. Mocha is hanging out, trying to go around the side, but doesn't choose to go back in. That is a lot of seen, but I think Camille is in a spot to potentially stop a TP if it comes out. But we see a potential 4v4 now. Asepi is going in onto Cherry, trying to burst this dragon down, finding the angle. But Jin is activated curtain call. The dragon is still up. Lysandra gets the kill onto Dab. But over on the top side, too, we see a few balls going out. This dragon has still not fallen yet. They're not damaging it. And it finally goes over to Cherry. And that is absolutely not what you want to see for Akuma. As even on the top side, Rumble gets the tower, finding an angle. Boulder gets a nice engage there. Hits 3, but I think it might be a little bit too late, as there isn't enough damage to follow up on the rest of the team, right? His 9-line Climb is just getting absolutely frozen to death, and the ultimate is Alternative's going to be able to finish off that kill. Dab gets the buncher shot, able to kill Lucian. Oswald's in the back. Is he going to be able to get it done? He's trying to get the kill on the Cherry. He gets the kill on Cherry, but it's not enough. It's orange. And unfortunately for Akuma, it looks like their playoff hopes are over. And Contingent Orange will be having their
only one can make a stand. Who will hold the victory? Eyes on the Nexus towers fall. Split-second moves, they give it their all. Champions clash in the final spree. Who will hold the victory? The victory.
Ladies and gentlemen, we made it. It's finals here at Warden in the League of Extraordinary Champions. We are joined today by the special TriCast. It's me, Badger, joined by Righteous as well. I think he's down there. I don't know exactly how the cameras are set up, but it's also Freak joining us today. How are you guys doing today?
Hello. So I want to casually point out that we didn't know that we were about to be on camera until about 25 seconds ago. So there's that. I have all this Taco Bell in front of me, and I didn't even know we were getting ready to go live. So thanks for the forewarning on that one.
Come on, producers. It's okay though. We're here now. But
I
Freak, it's great.
Memo. You guys, look at you guys.
I don't know. No, dude. Righteous is like, oh, we gotta be in a tie today, and I'm like, all right,
Dude,
we'll do
finals, man. We gotta dress the part. I'm excited.
I think Freak's looking good enough as is. He didn't even need the tie, so he's got the JoJo shirt on. He's doing great.
Yeah.
But we got the series today. It's going to be NLE versus, I believe it is Contingent Orange. I've cast them so many times. They're always a joy to watch, but NLE is new for me. So I'm very excited to see what this team has brought, as it's looks to be almost a full Masters lobby on both sides. So peak of the peak, right? We're the cream of the crop here for this final. So it's going to be a banger.
It's definitely going to be a banger. I've been watching a lot of what's been going on in Warden, and these two teams have definitely been a cut above the rest. Gotta give it to Contingent, even though they're one game down in the regular season than NLE. I think this series could realistically be close. We were talking about a little bit before we went live as how important Emery's is as a player in particular, and this will be kind of like the feast or famine of why am I blinking on team names already? But you know what I'm trying to say.
I know.
So just kind of getting a little bit of a mindset of like what we're expecting for tonight. And I also want to casually point out that Righteous wanted to do predictions for this series.
I did. So I have a couple stats. Okay. Week 3, you have to think all the way back to week 3 when the last time these teams met.
Yeah.
NLE had a couple different changes. Pillar and Tritz are no longer to be playing. It's going to be Emery's and Professor Hex. Emery's, as you said, really important to them. But it was a stomp for Contingent Esports Orange. It wasn't even close. I was going through. I was like, who would be player of the series? You could have picked pretty much any of those five. Peels and Baywa kind of stood out for me. They actually played the same champions both games. Peels went 8-1-12 across two. Baywa game 2 went 8-1-8. So they were carrying really hard. And if we're talking about predictions, it's like in the world of big business, what have you done for me lately? And Contingent Esports Orange 5-1 across their last 6 games. NLE 2-2. A little bit of a drama there at the end in their semifinals, actually taking an FF win. And so I think Contingent Esports Orange right now, to me, looks like the better team on paper. Gonna throw out my prediction early: 3-1 Orange.
All right, well, you had to steal my prediction because I was also going to go 3-0 Orange, solely based off of the fact that the Contingent beat the top team in the league in the semifinals prior to this. They 3-0'd them, as a matter of fact. So coming into this, it's like, well, they're just better, so let's just have them win. What you got, Badger? What is your prediction?
I guess I'm gonna be the dark horse, the person who kind of is like going against the grain here. But
Okay.
when looking kind of just at like the matchup, like individually, like lane assignments, right? I did talk about it is a lot of Masters players here, but specifically in the jungle, I think that is where the biggest kind of like matchup difference comes in. Cherry, I've cast her a lot. She does get a lot done. But right now she's sitting at D4. And when we look at the star player of NLE, it's Emery's, right? Emery's is sitting master, 219 LP. This guy, he is the cream of the crop. He's going to show up and he plays for his team. He is the win con. And I think right now we really got to be careful about that jungle matchup. And just looking on paper, stat-wise, I just think that jungle matchup is going to be hard for Orange to overtake. So I'm going to actually go 3-1 NLE.
Okay. Very, very interesting. We will have to see how this series plays out. I'm excited. I think my hope is that it's a close 5-game series, but I don't know if that'll actually turn into fruition. But I mean, let's be honest, just great teams across the board, right? We're in finals. Can't get more exciting than that.
Yeah, both teams deserve to be here, right? They have fought their way through the bracket, fought through the season to earn this spot, right? As I believe NLE is the team that does have that overall higher seed, so they did elect to go with blue to start off this series. So I'm wondering if we're gonna be able to, if they want that first pick, right? They have a pick that's on the horizon that really needs to be prioritized. I know 80 carries are pretty popular right now, the Jinx, the Jin, but is there anything you guys are on the lookout for today?
Me in particular. So this actually comes from a different league that I was doing. We saw a lot of Braum first pick, and a lot of it was to deny the MF because MF is still strong, I'll say in quotes, but not as strong as she used to be since the Bloodthirster nerfs came through. However, there are a lot of teams that are still prioritizing her because of her utility that she can provide in some of those later game team fights. And obviously, taking the Braum away means that they can't counterpick it with the huge old big old shield that he'll have, and it just forces them to pick something else into the matchup. I've seen Thresh, I've seen Blitzcrank, so it'll be one of those things where it's like, well, anything could really happen. The meta is expected to severely shift considering all the changes that went through on this patch. So I'm kind of excited to see where it could go. It'll be first picks aside. I mean, it's going to be very, very interesting tonight. But right, just go ahead. What are you most excited to see?
Last time these teams faced off, it was Baywa and Ash 2 games in a row. I'm thinking NLE Legionnaires is going B1 specifically so they don't have to ban the Ash, and I think they're actually going to pick it on B1. Potentially. Another stat for you guys, I really like stats, if you can't tell.
He's the stat man.
NLE performs worse on average on blue side than they do on red. So it was interesting that they picked it the first game. The reason I think is because if they can get that B1 win, that blue game 1 win, it sets you up for the rest of the finals, right? Because if you perform well on the side that you typically do least good on, you're better off overall. That being said, it does put you in a scary position because you might go down 0-1. So 6-4 on the season for them. Across 10 games, 60%, obviously. Red side, they're actually 6-2, so they win 75% of their games on red side. Kind of interesting that they didn't go that game 1.
Interesting.
Maybe they
stat
saw.
to bring up. Okay, that's interesting. Something that we'll have to reconsider, especially as we're getting ready to get into game soon. Now, I kind of want to kind of throw it back a little bit. So this is finals, as you guys have known. Badger, you have casted Contingent a number of times, and what have you seen like out of the growth of this team from here to now?
Oh my goodness. So I would say one of the players I've seen the most growth out of was originally Peels, actually. So it's seeing in his profile, he was a very, very big Orin one trick at the time of watching, right? I felt like he did not perform as well if he was not on Mr. Goat. But just looking at what he's been able to play recently, I've seen him on Nasus, I've seen him on Garen, I've seen him on so much, and I've seen him be able to play to kind of get his team ahead now. So I think he's not as much that just reliable. We need that engaged tank. I think he can be a real leader for this team. Also, another player I want to shout out is Mocha, right? Mocha was someone I originally also underlooked, right? But just I think they are always in the right place at the right time. They're always able to make the plays that they need and just get the rest of the map ahead, not just Baywa. And I think it's really good to see. I think also when you have really really strong carries like Cherry, like Baywa, alternative who's able to go for a base race and almost make it happen. This team, it's still spooky. And while I didn't technically vote for them to win, I still think they're going to put up a hell of a fight, and I think it really could go either way.
Okay, alrighty then. So we're waiting for the players to finish getting into lobby before we go ahead and get started. Actually, I take it back. We're starting the draft right now. It's go time going into the draft for this first game. NLE Legionnaires on the blue side, Contingent Orange on the red side. So from here, I imagine we'll probably see a lot of target bans, or actually, I take it back. Considering these are Masters players, we might see more meta bans compared to what we would see in other leagues. So taking on the Ashe off the table, I think, is huge.
I really thought
That's a
they would pick the Ash, but instead they banned it. So I don't know why they're B1 or why they're blue game 1. We'll see.
oh, you know what? You're opinionated, and I want to know. I want go for it. I want to hear this.
Well, I just think if you're going blue side, right, it gives you an opportunity to basically get 4 bans, the 3 bans plus a priority takeaway. If you weren't
Yep.
planning on playing the Ash, I'd rather have the red side team pick red, so that way they can set themselves up for some counters potentially, potentially get more info on the draft. So it's just interesting that they went blue when they're typically not the best blue side,
Mhm.
and then they ban Ash anyways. It's kind of interesting to me.
I mean, maybe there is a chance that they don't have an answer to it, which is maybe why. Granted, there are 1.5 million answers into the Ashe with how immobile she is, or they're just not comfortable with that being on the map, even regardless. But will be the Anivia that is the first pick. This is a pick that we do not see terribly often. However, Anivia is a very fun pick, I will say, is also a comfort pick, I will add. And that's they're going ahead. So, but the problem is that it is blind. Now there are a lot of things you can play into it. There are a lot of oh, never mind. All right, so I heard a lot of pings from the league thing. I'm like, what's going on? However, rolling back, this is Nivea blind, so that can be a little bit of a contingent point to kind of draft abuse into that. As Contingent, we'll go ahead and lock in the Jarvan. I think that's a really solid pick. I mean, Anivia really can't move, especially if she doesn't have flash. You can get on top of her pretty easily. And from here, it's just, all right, well, do we pick our mid laner here? I think they should, especially considering that it could be a mid lane pool that ends up getting pinched in the second phase of bans. But I digress, as we are only getting to our second pick.
I mean, still, like, we're looking at Professor Hex, right? He has put on a fantastic showing with this Anivia, right? It is his most played by far in solo queue, right? It's got him to where it is. I am surprised that they are choosing to go blind first pick on it, though. I think it is a pick that, if you're good on it, you're good on it. But I think there's a lot of stuff that can kind of shut it down, especially when paired with a Jarvan, right? There are a lot of mid laners that show up. My personal favorite here is maybe the Orianna to show up, kind of just play around that Jarvan, get a good combo. Because at the end of the day, Anivia, she doesn't have those mobility tools that a lot of these meta mid laners are having right now. So I think there could be a lot of punishment to it. But Jin coming out, very staple pick there for Contingent Orange, and it looks like it might be an Ezreal in response for NLE. I think it's a pretty decent showing from Contingent Orange, and Ezreal ends up rounding out NLE's comp pretty well at the start.
Ezreal in the vacuum doesn't necessarily do well in the 1v1 against Jin, so it's interesting to see it come out after Jin's already shown. NLE is kind of locking themselves into, we want to stay away, we want to keep this Jarvan off of us, right? So Jarvan, I think, is actually going to have a harder time operating around this Anivia once you start playing around these
Diego.
objectives. The Anivia ulti coming through, going to make his life a little bit harder. As we see, Viego is actually the answer into Jarvan. So it's really interesting because the Anivia Ezreal, maybe the Ezreal can get a push, but the Anivia I don't really think gets pushed for that mid or for that jungle mid lane synergy with the Viego
Not till
till after
6.
6. So
Mm-hmm.
it'll be interesting to see. I think Jarvan will actually have a couple different timers that Viego just can't match just because he's better in the early game than with the Viego with no mid lane pairing.
There it is. I mean, I
Well,
think
well, well. Who
would
was
you
it that
look?
called the Oriana?
It was me. Look at that. It's one of my favorite combos, right? I'm a big Oriana fan myself, and just if I get a Jarvan on my team, I'm having the time of my life. I think this Anivia, she's got to play super, super well in this draft. And I think I mean, it's calling it early, but I really, really like the start that we're seeing from this first 3 for Contingent Orange. But I think you still have the opportunity, right? You have the 80 carries, the jungles, and the mids picked, but we're going to be seeing some pinches on the support. I bet engaged supports are going to be a dime a dozen after these bans.
Having a thought. So I understand that they're going to want to pitch a support pool inside a contingent. However, Ezreal's strongest duo is still open, and that's the Karma. So Ezreal Karma, as we know, is a really obnoxious duo to deal with. In this instance, I kind of feel like Contingent is kind of screwing themselves a little bit by banning away engaged supports. I think it'd be better if they especially took the Karma off the table. Maybe they take the Nautilus for themselves. Nautilus is a pretty annoying combo, but they're taking their time here with this last ban that they're going for. And from here, we have the Gragas band away on the other side. They're going to take the Alistar out. They're taking their last out. Okay, so they take the Alistar out as well. And I'm very surprised. I mean, I know that NLE support is really good on these engaged supports, but still, I have a feeling in my gut that, like, if we're playing Ezreal, 9 times out of 10, they're going to pick the Karma. It's just obnoxious what kind of a poke lane it can be. And when you have someone as immobile as Ajin into that matchup, especially in the later stages of the game, it could be absolutely obnoxious as they go ahead and round out their bans, NLE rather, with the Rumble taken off the table.
If I'm contingent here, I'm definitely taking away the Leona, right? Of the engaged champs that Ezreal flies with, Leona is kind of like the one that kind of stands out to me. Karma, obviously, good answer if Leona is picked here, but I just don't see that many people playing Karma. I'm not saying Kane can't or won't pick it. I just think Leona kind of makes your team fights operate a little bit better as we see Nami locked in instead.
Actually, so I didn't get a chance to say it. I honestly have seen Jin paired with Karma. I thought it could be a denial pick for the side of Baywa. They take the Karma, just make sure Ezreal doesn't get that really nice lane partner. But I'm actually surprised to see Nami here. I think it gets a little bit of a good value with the Jarvan locking in and making sure that tidal wave lands. But that's a nasty crank if that gets locked in. But they're
Oh,
hovering
that's
here,
even
maybe.
worse.
Wait, that might be. They're
I think they're
they're
just
going
baiting us.
around. Maybe they're letting us know. But I think Mr. Cranky is going to be a little stanky this game. I think there are a lot of pick opportunities for him. I think it's a pretty solid pick here.
I was about to say, because like when they were flipping back and forth, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a fan of the Nami pick. I'm just gonna put that out there. I'm not too much of a fan of it. I feel like in this particular matchup, especially with Israel, it's like if she misses the bubble, and Jin doesn't really get too much value out of her empowered autos anyways. So something like that doesn't really sit too well with me. And the Blitzcrank, as you mentioned, fire pick. I would have actually screamed if it was Yumi, and I'm not kidding. I actually would have screamed. And then Aatrox is going to be the final pick for NLE, and then Contingent now. So they see it. It's like, okay, we can pick our top laner here. Like they banned out the Gragas in the Rumble. So from here, there's a lot of stuff they could pick if they really wanted to. Casante's open. Oh, please God, don't pick that. Gwen's still open. Fiora's even open if you're really comfortable with that skill matchup. So it's really up to Contingent what they want to do as they go ahead and lock the Yone. And I have a beef because they have next to no front line minus the Jarvan.
Well, they
You
don't.
know, Yona's like fake frontline, right? He can kind of get a little bit done. I've seen some people go with that stride breaker. Maybe he's going to go with that grass build. But yeah, I kind of agree with you, Freak. I think there isn't really any true frontline. Jarvan and Yona can buy space for the carries, but I think you got to be really cautious here. There's no one who's going to really be able to want to take these Blitzcrank hooks. I think you got to be cautious.
I mean, the counter to Blitzcrank, just don't get hooked. That's the biggest brain you can have. Just
Fair.
don't get caught, right? But I will say, despite the lack of tank from Contingent Orange, their comp feels more like of a comp to me. I'm looking at NLE's side, right? The Nivea and the Ezreal want to stay away from the fights, while Viego Aatrox are going in. So who's going to have the follow-up damage? Blitzcrank, if he's pulling, it better not be the Yone or the Jarvan, right? But those are going to be the two characters, the two champions that will be in the front line. And so kind of a mismatch of champions, I would say, for NLE, in my opinion. While Contingent Esports Orange, they're going to go in hard. They have the Nami ult, the Orianna ult, the Jarvan ult, the Yone ult. So to me, I just feel like their comp's a little bit easier to pull off than the side of NLE.
Yeah, NLE in particular, because Anivia obviously doesn't want to get too close. Ezreal's going to try to poke from far away, which I know that's the point that you were trying to make earlier, is even Ezreal doesn't want to necessarily stay away from the fights, but he wants to poke and not get too heavily involved. Now, we might see some aggressive arcane shifts, obviously. That's entirely a possibility. But from there, it's like, okay, well, we have Jarvan Orianna on one side, Yone, who can miss everything and still kill everybody. You'll hear me saying that probably a few times this game. And NLE, yeah, like NLE has a lot of disengage as well, but I think it's really going to be contingent, honestly, on this top jungle. I think for NLE, if this Aatrox gets ahead, if this Viego also gets ahead, it will be mildly disastrous for this backline for contingent. Now, caught. Hold on, gonna go ahead and do the emote myself. There is a universe where Contingent magically pulls us off obnoxiously and takes this game. Now, I did say 3-1, so this could be maybe the one game that NLE wins. But that's about 45 minutes from now. We'll find out.
Completely agree. As I think right now I'm looking at it, I think that while the combo is really good from the side of Contingent Orange, I think I'm looking at the champs that could realistically be locked down. And I think you have maybe Anivia is like the only champ I've kind of seen, because I think Ezreal, he has a lot of mobility here, especially if he's only getting caught by Jarvan. It's going to be hard to get that lockdown, get that Jarvan Ori combo off. I think you also just have to be really cautious if you are playing Contingent Orange, right? Because the return damage, that fire back damage from NLE is really strong, right? Viego likes these extended fights. Anivia likes these extended fights where she's able to lay down her ultimate. Aatrox, he's going to be able to get these resets if they don't get these kills quick. I think it is up to Contingent Orange to kind of jump the gun, but if they aren't going to be able to actually kind of get that kill early, it's going to be really hard in these extended fights here.
I think NLE obviously has the pick. Anytime you pick Blitzcrank, you're going to have that pick potential. But what do they do approaching an objective that Contingent's already at? I don't really see a go button or a way to start the fight other than that Blitzcrank Q. And I think that, you know, that summoner, the ability is just so conditional, right? It's not instant engage. It's not point and click. It's just a hook that if you throw out and it's gone, all of a sudden your champ kind of does nothing, right? And so it's going to be up to Contingent to get to the objectives first.
Oh yeah.
Force them to force NLE walk into them. If they're late though, I could definitely see where, you know, how do you approach NLE?
Definitely agree with you on that one. Well, just as we're getting ready to get into game, so the in-client draft rather is all done. So we're gonna go ahead and go into spec delay. So when we come back, it will be the very first game of this best of 5 series. Are we in for a quick one, or are we gonna be here till midnight? Don't go anywhere.
Frozen by the scene, portraits seem to fade. He lost his centerpiece, can't recall his face. I hope he'll rest in peace. Haunted by my mind, victim or the prey. Everything is fine, take me to my grave. Bury me alive, keeping me astray. Hard to say goodbye to who I am today. Everything is fine, take me to my grave.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Game 1 between these two teams. We have Contingent Orange on the red side and NLE on the blue side. We got 1.5 million pings coming out of the blue side here as we got some Blitzcrank shenanigans. Kane walking forward, the classic level 1 Blitzcrank nonsense. They're even checking
ward though. Such
Oh,
a
yeah.
smart ward.
And that they see them.
And they miss it. Oh.
I didn't see it. I think they know the side of Contingent Orange probably knows what's up. They know some shenanigans are probably afoot. But we see that Baywa and Mocha, they're in a pretty safe rush right now. I don't think it's likely that they hook the brush, but it looks like NLE, they're like, oh, we didn't find anything. I think we're just going to go back to the side. We're going back to the drawing board, just play out these lanes normally.
Now, there is also a caveat to this as well. The Jarvan went to the other side of the map and placed Vision down as well, so that Vision and Red, or rather that Red ward on the blue buff, most likely won't spot out the Viego. But if Emery's does decide to forego this Raptor camp and go straight that way, will be spotted.
Yeah, lots of vision being used by Contingent, just to cover for the Blitzcrank. So right, really great ward, as you pointed out, from the Jarvan. That's 3 wards down though. You only have 2 left to play with in this early game. If Blitz is unlocked or Viego looks to make an aggressive move, try to do it early, right, while these wards are down.
Mm-hmm. I definitely 100% agree with you. As you know, we're kind of bouncing back and forth between here and the middle lane. So we talked about the Anivia pick a lot, especially over the break. Kind of curious to see like what it will do over the course of this game. Now, Professor Hex probably was cooking something in the kitchen that we weren't noticing. Probably also wanted to take it away from Alternative, who does play the Anivia, so kind of like, aha, I could play your pick, but we'll have to kind of see as the game goes on, as these two mid laners are pretty much even in CS and XP at the moment, as they're both taking over to level 2. Top side, I don't know what to say. Oh, hello, they found the
ward got spotted there by Emery's. Alternative doing a great job. That nice little Raptor ward to make sure no shenanigans happen. But Emery's, he is still walking around, maybe looking to see if Alternative is going to be caught slipping. But I think it is pinged, so they know he's in the area. But we see Emery's is walking into the jungle here.
Bot lane has pushed, so they can rotate to help this Jarvan, but looks like Viego's going to take the fight to them.
Oh, I hate this extra opening at the bottom lane, and it's for this exact reason. Actually, he's been ready to gank.
It looks like Emery's has made his way in. He's able to land the stun on a Jhin. Right, we see the hook. It's a nice hook, and it lands on Baywa. Baywa's forced to flash out, but I don't think it's going to be enough. They have the contingent damage, but the barrier saves it. Emery's with the flash in. He gets the stun to finish off, but I think he's going to die. He can't get the possession. And we see it's a jungle for jungle kill, and a spicy one to start off this game.
I honestly think they can go ahead and keep going, but the classic wraparound with the Viego, which is even more interesting, that I'm surprised we didn't get like a little bit of a respect play out of the bottom lane from Contingent in this case, because they knew that he was on the bottom side of the map, but they opted into staying that far forward, and it gave that little bit of an opening. First Blood did, however, go over to the Viego. The trade eventually went over as well to the Jarvan. So 1-for-1 trade at the end of the day. The gold stays even, not too much comes out of that. You're just going to have some pretty obnoxiously fed jungle, well, strong junglers.
Those dirty 3-camp junglers. Just a a unique gank timer that, unless you're aware of it, it kind of always catches you off guard. Really well done by the Viego. Unfortunately, goes down in the process. Baywood doing their best to stay alive as long as they can. And so, actually interesting that in the Jarvan game, the Jarvan Viego matchup, Viego is the one that makes the first move.
That reminds me of something. So there is a friend of mine says that there is a little bit of a method known as the Jarvan hive mind. So what you do is you go 2 camps into gank, or it's 3 camps into gank, then 2 camps into gank, then 1 camp into gank, then no camps to gank. In this case, I do not think that Cherry is a member of the Jarvan hive mind. Ended up clearing most of the top side, and I think 2 more camps on the bottom side before heading down there. But the fact it was still an effective, gank nonetheless. But overall, I think you're feeling okay. I think better if you're on the side of NLE, because now both the bot laners have no flashes, and Blitzcrank loves. Whoa, hello.
But you know what I want to talk about is, who's feeling really good right now is Alternative, right? He's down that far, but Professor Hex is getting chunked pretty low. If you're a bird without your ultimate, that level 6, you're not feeling too strong, right? And we're seeing, even though the Anivia has that farm lead, I think forced to back early. It looks like maybe they're both going to just do the TP trade that a lot of mid laners do. As we see, Professor Hex does it, and we see Alternative. Never mind. I guess it's just mid lane hive mind.
Before loading into the game, we were talking a little bit about, I'm of the opinion that NLE, if they can suck Contingent Esports into their skirmishy play style, this high tempo, high octane playing style, it'll do them greater favors than it was. You see
Oh, hello.
Kane going in, Bewa.
But yeah, now we see
getting
that
hooked.
jungle is here, and he's able to find the kill onto
No
Bewa.
flash.
And it looks like, oh my goodness, even with the flash down, it's not enough. But we see actually a root lands onto Mocha. Mocha's in trouble, but the bubble is not enough as the fourth shot pops the fish.
And that's just a great example of you got the some timers bought, just go back. Make it worth your while to get those timers. Just do it over and over again until they get those summoners back up.
We're seeing some aggressive pings here from the side of NLE, right? They're all trying to invade this Jarvan, right? The Jarvan is on Wolves, but he is spotted. I think they aren't going to go too far in, but it looks like they're going to back off as they're going to probably take Dragon, knowing that Cherry, she probably isn't in the area to be able to contest this.
I don't entirely blame them. I mean, it's pretty much free. The Nami isn't going to really hold much value. Who's also level 3, we're going to casually point out. So down a level compared to this Blitzcrank. Will most likely hit level 4 when she gets this next wave. But this will be the first streak that goes over. It's an early-ish streak, about 6.5 minutes as it will fall. Right as they said that it wasn't 6.5 minutes, so good on me. But Peel's here getting into a bit of a fight. I don't think too much will come out of this. But all right, so... We're dialing it back. We're going to dial it back a little bit. So we're going to get a lot more action in the bottom lane, I think, until these 2 flashes come back up. And from there, I think that's when, we see a revisit from Viego. There may be a couple of times. It's interesting, though, that this Jin...
but we see a hook is landing. Kane is able to find Mocha. Mocha, you got to be careful here. But without your Ezreal in a position to punish, it just looks like they're going to be seeing a little bit of aggressive trades as both supports are kind of just saying hey to each other.
Yeah, and I think it was a kind of interesting trade that Peels took there. It was to stop Fury from backing Fury actually having the TP advantage. I think if the call is for Cherry and Peels to look at this this objective in top, the grubs, he wanted to make it so Aatrox couldn't back or at least get a bad timer. Instead, he's gonna have a wave that's frozen in front of his tower, but that's not really good if you're looking for the grubs.
As we see some aggressive trading here from Hex, he's able to get the electrocute proc, but with the stun missing, I don't think it's going to be anything else. But yeah, Jarvan looking up top here. Looks like Cherry's going in for the aggressive play here as Peels is trying to buy time. He has that Q3 ready to go. Is he going to land it? He does, stopping the cancel. The Fate Sealed coming out. And with the Flag and Drag, it's forcing Aatrox to go out. But the Flash, it might be enough. But cutting down bot side. Alternative is doing a great job.
way.
He's able to get the kill on Emery's, that return kill. That is a fantastic turnaround. Alternative, I've seen him do it once. I've seen him do it twice. This guy is so hard to dive. And with that shockwave, he's going to put that jungle in the grave.
Cool guys do not look at explosions either. Oh, wait, hold that
another
thought.
flash here from Hex, but
Oh
Hex,
my
you are out of
goodness.
mana. Alternative, and with Cherry in the mood, Alternative is saying, oh my goodness, what are these fellas doing? As that is going to be another pick, and Cherry picks it up. What just happened mid lane?
I mean, I don't know. It was I do know it was way too much over aggression from Emery's, and then Professor Hex feeling like, okay, well, I have to make it worth. And instead, both of them end up falling. Yone, the beneficiary of getting the flash out of Aatrox in top lane, and so they actually went out on both those solo lanes, and will still be able to get the grubs.
Oh, yeah, and that also swung the gold into their favor. 700 gold now in the lead for Contingent. Really questionable plays, I do have to say, off of those couple of moments that we saw in the middle lane. I'm actually shocked that they that Professor Hex went for that, knowing that, like, well, even though there's like no HP on the Orianna, I thought I had enough mana, and then psych. But the Void Grubs will be traded on the other side of the map, so Jarvan will get all 3 of these. I believe, yes, all 3 of the Void Grubs, as Emery's is going to just steal jungle camps away in the meantime. This is a nasty little angle that Kane is in right now, but will spot someone out with the Deadly Flourish, so that play will be absolutely moot. And from here, I mean, Contingent are just doing fine, and they're farming up. The bottom lane's pretty behind, but I think with their mid and jungle being ahead at the moment, they are about... Okay, Jarvan's down gold, but Alternative is up 500 gold. This Orianna in the later stages of the game can be absolutely massive. We've seen what players like Caps can do on this champion. We've seen what players like Faker can do on this champion. A really strong Orianna can make or break a game, and Alternative is now in a prime position to be that carry for this team. And I'm really hoping that that's what we get to see in some of these later game team fights.
I want to swing your eyes to the top lane CS differential. Peels, we talked about it before in week 3, got the better of Fury both games, and so far it's more of the same. It'll be interesting to see how Fury Emery's adjust Because Peels is putting out a lot of pressure, and the wave manipulation has been so good as we saw.
But
Alternative
seeing a good amount of pressure
potentially
here,
thought.
we see the shockwave
here.
lands onto Professor Hex, and without a flash, and Cherry,
Ooh.
nice few flash
Clean.
drag, and it's gonna be enough as Alternative picks up the kill. Mocha was there to support, but she wasn't able to get it the assist, as Emery's is having to pick up the slack after Professor Hex falls.
I mean,
Definitely,
Mocha's kind of there just for the emotional support. Right? Like, hey, good job, guys. You didn't even need me. But right now, I think it's just a little bit of over-aggression from NLE. I know they want to play this like heavy skirmishy style, this kind of toe the line between a winning and a losing fight. But right now, they're just coming up tails on all of the fights they're taking.
Yeah, and we're 11 minutes in the game, about 1,000 gold in favor for Contingent at this time. The Ludens is also completed on Alternative, which is a really strong item spike for this champion. Also stacking the tier, but that will get finished later on. The second Drake, rather, is up in 10 seconds. We have a lot of moves, really, from NLE going towards it, which I think dragon stacking is huge for them. They really can't fight either because the Oriana ultimate is down, or they might prove me wrong and maybe go for something here as a little bit of trading is happening in the river. Also saw the Ezreal ulti was just burned as well. So trying to get a bit of a force, or a bit of a push, rather, in the bottom lane to force Baywa and Mocha under this tower so they can kind of get Prio into the river for this Drake.
But we do see Cherry might have spotted out the Anivia here, but that flag and drag is not in the area where we want it to be as we see the stun come out. But Emery's, he's lurking in the distance. I don't know if Cherry's an Alternative are going to take the bait. Professor X is doing a good job of trying to buy time, but the curtain call comes out on the other side as we actually see Nami falls. Mocha's not in this fight, but we see the two-man shockwave, the flag and drag, the combo. This bird is good as gone. And now Emery's on the retreat here, trying to get away, but
They will
Bongo
force
and Kane are in a bad spot. Alternative
Another
is
one.
doing so much damage. Bongo not able to get hit by the flag and drag, but they're flashing it. I think that
Another
is
one.
a dead Ezreal. And that is such a good play for Contingent Orange there.
No. And if you're NLE, you have to feel so bad. All this pressure that you brought bot side doesn't really matter now. 20 CS lead for Baywa after going down 0-2. And you just won the fight to secure yourself a dragon. NLE is kind of on their back heels right now.
Yeah, but we
The
see
fight's
some-
not done.
Yeah, we see some really aggressive pings here as Emery's lands the stand onto Cherry, but she's not able to get the combo off, and Emery's, both junglers are actually checked here, but she's stopped by the wall as Mocha's
Nami
trying to
ult.
buy time, but Emery's does a great job of flashing the
what a
title
flash
in,
to get
getting
the body.
Jarvan, going for the flag trick, and they find the Mocha, and they get the hook! The hook lands on the Alternative, and Alternative looks like it's the end for him, as that is a massive shutdown over to Emery's.
I spoke too soon.
I saw the TP coming and I'm like, wait, we're not done yet. The TP comes in from Professor Hex, and at that point, Alternative and Cherry are just too far forward. They end up getting caught out, and they give over shutdowns, I will add. That was two massive shutdowns that went over. One to Anivia, one to Viego. That also gives them the Drake that puts them on 2 now. And man, oh man, this gold lead. What's a gold lead now? It's just like 100 gold, and now it's going to be an Ocean Rift as well. And oh my lordy, if NLE ends up with this Ocean Soul in the next 10 minutes, this is going to be dire for Contingents. Because fighting into an Ocean Soul is very, very hard. I feel like that Contingent are going to be forced to fight for this next streak. And wait, we got a collapse here happening on the river. They don't know they're on a ward. Okay, now they do know that they're on a ward. They will go ahead and just retreat.
Yeah, and I'd like to see some of the pressure brought up to Peels in this top lane, right? He's doing a great job of carving out a lead, basically on his own. But we're looking at, the jungle. You brought up the importance of the jungle matchup. Emery's up in farm, up in KP. Well, I guess tied in KP.
Yeah,
but
tied in, yeah.
Up in tempo, I'll say. I'd like to see Peels get unlocked so that he could be more of a team fight presence in the team fight comp.
Mm-hmm.
But we might see him get involved here, as we do see some aggressive pings are going on to Shelly, as Alternative looks to be trying to make an aggressive play, but it looks like the bird is actually this thing in sight as Cherry finds it, but that is a aggressive flash in, but the shockwave onto the ball, it's not going to be enough. Even with that egg, I think this bird is good as dead. Baywa picks up that support and picks up the assist, as Baywa, actually, he says, I'm going to take the kill. But now we see Peels was able to buy off Emery's. He's not on this Shelly anymore, and with 4 members of Contingent Orange here, I think it's going to be hard to contest here for NLE.
Really good
Yeah,
call.
if NLE is being smart, they'll back off this fight.
The Hex
With the
Blast
Kane
comes
going in, though.
we see the hook lands onto Cherry, but the Fate Shield lands on 2.
Oh my
they
God.
get the target, and they find Kane. He goes for that Hex Flash, and he's going gray screen off of that, and I think that is not going to be enough, as Cherry picks up Shelly for the team.
I don't know why you stay there if you're NLE. You got forced off the objective. Your mid just went down. You end up giving another kill plus the neutral anyways. Odd decision making, I'll say.
I think I understand what the call was to see if they can make a pick off of it, because that's pretty much what this Blitzcrank pick rather functions as it looks like Emery's has spotted on a ward here. Sticking around.
The question is Cherry spotted? She should be spotted, as it looks like they're trying to bait. Emery's cancels his base here, but it's a level up. As now we see Alternative is also showing up, saying, "Hey, is there going to be some action here?" But actually, really aggressive positioning from Emery's. But Peels misses the Q3, forced to go back. But Cherry now seems to be isolated. She does have a ball, but the flag and drag misses. Emery's is the primary target
like 3
here.
seconds.
But with Phase Rush coming up and Professor Hex in the area, I think both teams are feeling it. The Shockwave does not find anybody, and we see Cherry now trying to buy space. The Q3 from Peels misses, but the Jarvan is walled. He's forced to flash out. Emery's trying to buy space, land the stun. It misses. It's a field goal. And Alternative picks up the kill, and that is not what you want to see for NLE.
Emery's just always a little bit too aggressive in these fights. You can play them slow, make them play your game. Instead, goes down.
Very, very unfortunate. Emery's ends up going down at the end of that play. I see what the call was, but they just weren't expecting Alternative to be there as well. And by the time Professor Hex got there, it was like, all right, we probably shouldn't play any further, but they decided they wanted to go forward.
As we see Alternative getting aggressively traded on here, but he has Phase Rush, so he's going to be able to skedaddle out of this one. But still, this Anivia wall has gotten so much value, right? Forcing out all of these flashes, forcing out so much of the HP. But now, Kane is positioning very aggressively as it looks like they find Mocha. And I think even with that tidal wave, it is not enough as Bronco shifts in. But we see the TP coming out from the Yone. Peels is trying to get involved, but it's another one as Cherry.
Everyone's out of the lane.
The curtain call. Are they going to try to get it as we see an absolute fiesta? The Q3, but Fate Shield able to pick up Ezreal. Cherry trying to buy time with the Cataclysm. Two-man shot wave comes out. Peels is getting so much value here as he picks up the double. Is he able to find Kane? No, he's not, but they're speeding in, and that tier 1 tower is down. Contingent Orange is on fire right now.
Sorry, that's first tower. It's 17 minutes and we're just now getting first tower. It's 22 kills in a 17.5-minute game. It's being a 3-for-1 at the end of that play. It's like when one TP came in, the Goon Squad was like, yep, let's go. It was basically like a 5v4 in the bottom lane because Aatrox didn't match Peels' TP. But man, oh man, interestingly enough too, so Young getting another kill there. Jin, crucially getting another kill, has now on 2 items, which I'm going to completely take over the topic for a moment about the Jin build. I don't like this Jin build, and I don't like this Jin build for a number of reasons. Yes, because we all love the fast, it's pretty hilarious, but it does provide a lot of crit and movement speed for this Jin. However, it delays the damage that Jin is known to be able to do, which is why I prefer, not in my solo queue games, I would do the lethality build, but normally I would prefer maybe static shift first and then IE second to kind of maximize that damage. I think with this particular comp that he's playing against, he could have foregoed the rapid fire cannon at this point, and we're actually getting the Rift Herald spawned in the middle lane. I do think this should break open the tower as, and there's really no way of defending this as they will go ahead and give this up. This will also expend the gold lead, which I did not even think to look at until just now. It is 4,000 ever since. Oh, hello. That's a lot of damage.
Perhaps he's taking a bit of a damage, but the Shockwave and the Seraph's Embrace is probably going to make it so he's okay, as it ends up actually being an even trade. But we see Cherry is on the hunt. Professor Hex is in the area as the Flag and Drag buys enough space, but Emery's finds Mocha. That is an isolated mermaid, and I think that chip is dead and gone. As Mocha picks up the pick, but Kane is able to find this chip. Cherry, you are in no man's land, and Anivia, Professor Hex is on a rampage, able to pick up some kills for himself here.
Gold leads be damned, I guess.
And that's, I mean, that's massive. Peels is here with Baywa. The might soft contest this dragon. Jin can open up with the curtain call, but that'll be third Drake going the way of NLE unless Peels and Baywa have anything to say about it. And I don't think they do.
There's no jungler alive, so they will not be trying to make a play. However, this does force them into the awkward situation about 5.5 minutes from now when they are going to be forced to fight for this next Drake, because you do not want to give over a 24-minute Ocean Soul. Absolutely huge, especially with no heal cut coming out of the other side out of anybody at this moment. And with this Aatrox with an Ocean Soul, I mean, hold on, actually, let me go back for a second. We have not talked or mentioned a single thing about Fury this whole game. My man's has been up there just chilling this whole time. is down CS 0-0-0, has the
but
first
someone
item.
might be down on their
Oh.
luck here as the Fate Shield is coming out, trying to get an
no.
aggressive trade here. I
Yone
think Professor Hex
thinks.
might have bought off a
TQ.
little more than he can chew. Yone moment as he's able to auto him to death with that Bork. It's going to be a lot of heal. Is the egg going to pop? I think so. And Peels putting the egg right in the dirt there.
Peels is getting scary. 2.7k up on his counterpart. Fury doing his part, not giving
Emery's
Peels
getting
all-
swatted here. Cherry lands the flag and drag, and it looks like it's going to be enough.
Yeah,
Kane
but
trying to buy time,
Oh.
but a two-man shockwave as Nami actually picks up the kill. Is the curtain call going to be enough?
Yoink.
The flash out from Kane, but Cherry lands the flag to pick up that
That's
kill.
Baron.
That is a great play, and I think Baron could be on the horizon for this team.
It has to
If
be
Yo-
Baron, right?
Yone has TP in a few seconds, so I do really believe this could be, because with Yone here, Jin's not gonna hit this really quickly. But I think if Yone decides to TP, if Yone decides to TP,
He's just gonna walk.
all right, never mind. He's gonna walk there.
Saving the summoner. As we see Aatrox TP coming out.
Actually, it's a
Into mid
two-man
lane.
TP, as Anivia is also in the area. They're going for this. They're trying to contest it. It's actually the
have to
side
be-
of Contingent Orange. They
have to be
take this
careful
Baron
of the
pretty
Yoda
slow. But Fury, he's trying to buy some space for his team as the W lands on a Cherry.
Oh,
Retaining
no.
aggressively, but Cherry's getting in
Peels is
there.
here.
But Peels is on the flank. He finds the target. He finds Bongo, and Bongo is down. Professor Hex is in the middle of nowhere. He's going to fall.
Oh my
Mocha,
God.
great flash to live. It's just Fury left. Great flash, Q. He's
Fury's
able
here.
to find it. Is Aatrox alive? I don't think so. But Peels is getting so much damage off as it's Emery's trying to
this
get
is
the
huge.
reset, trying to get the Heartbreaker. He flashes in, he gets the reset, but the Shockwave is able to land and Peels. It's just Kane, and I think if I'm Blitzcrank, I think I'm a little scared as Peels is able to get these continued Qs off. I don't think that E's going to be enough, especially when this Yone has E, and that is dead. And it ended up being the Baron, but that is still a great play for Orange.
It'll be a tier 2 tower. Which,
Yeah.
all said and done, if you take an ace in your tier 2, Baron's still up and available for you to take. I mean, I'll say worth if you're Contingent Esports.
I have a beef though, because they finished the Baron if Peels TPs to that immediately after out of base, because like
True.
that was at like 4K by the time they had to peel off. So I think that's a little bit of a crucial mistake, because they get the Baron and they most likely get out. But honestly, I guess they'll just take the kills, as the score is 14-21 right now. The gold lead is 5,000 and a half rather in favor of Contingent, but I mean, it doesn't even feel like it's a 5,000 gold lead, strictly because each of these Drakes arguably provide about maybe like 400 or 500 gold each. So it seems like it's much closer than it is, especially with how strong some of these carries are. Gotta say, this game is exciting, and the fact that we could probably potentially have 5 games of this is even more exciting.
I will say, while Peels didn't use TP, Fury did to get to that fight. And so right now you have a TP advantage for Peels. So the exact same play can happen. They got the ace. They'll get map pressure. I won't say it was a mistake as it was less optimal than it could have been. As we see Fury taking
Yep,
a
getting
little low.
aggressively traded on by Alternative here. Alternative has a lot
this?
of gold in his pocket. Fury forced ultimate out here, and he's going to try to dodge all of these ultimates, but we see the Shockwave lands, and the True Shot Barrage isn't enough, as that is a solo kill, and you don't see that solo kill often, as Orianna takes down Aatrox there.
Yeah. I mean, Aatrox also got no help like the entirety of the game, to be fair, so hasn't really been that obnoxious mid to late game champion that we've seen. I gotta say, a heck of a lot of action coming out of both of these teams. It's really impressive to see. Honestly,
40
I think
kills.
I think you guys called it. Hold on a second. Hold that thought. Okay, never mind. I don't think too much will come out of that, as I'm pretty sure Peels recognizes that something is up. As Anivia does not play that aggressively unless she has help, so I think knowing that, and yeah, they see him now, like, all right, that confirms it. Homeboy was here. Anyways, kind of gonna dial it back to what I was going to say. Actually, I forgot what I was gonna say. So new topic. So Drake is up in 34 seconds. That is pretty good for NLE if they decide to go for it. However, they could flip Soul Baron if they wanted to.
They don't have to go for it, right? Especially because Fury and Professor Hex's TPs are down. They might just
And he
opt to-
fishes.
Ooh.
Ooh.
They might just opt to give it and force fresh pressure on this Baron. Puts you in an awkward spot if you're Contingent.
Alternative right now, the Shockwave is able to land on Professor
good.
Hex. The egg is still up though. They have to buy a lot of time,
Great
but I think if
bubble.
you're not in a position to defend this egg, that egg is good as dead.
Yep.
And that True Shot Barrage, it didn't really do much. It just said, hey, it's here. We're gonna use it, I guess, but that's not the pick you want, especially with this Drake coming up.
Well, and take a look at the items right now between Contingent and LE. 3 items completed, only did 2 between Bongo and Bewa. You have almost 3 items completed for the
They
Orianna.
want this.
Yeah, they're forcing this dragon as we
But
see
Peels
them
is
both come out.
4 members fight him. He
That's
tops
huge!
Weasel. That guy absolutely got blown up there. That is a massive shutdown, and it goes over to Bongo.
Yes.
They're gonna look over towards this Baron. Contingent has to be careful about not getting another pick over to the Blitzcrank. Walking into a Blitz is so scary, especially like you said before we loaded into the game. There's no tanks for him to tank that Q.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, it just provides an absolute one-shot potential. So, and I thought this would kind of turn into a Baron play, but it makes sense why it wouldn't, because Cherry is up. Professor Hex will TP back. The fact now that there's no vision for the side of Contingents, as they're going to go ahead and start the Baron themselves, they might be aware of this as they're going to go ahead and check. Oh, Badger, I hope you're ready for a banger.
I'm going to be ready as we see the curtain call comes out. They're getting it started, but the tidal wave comes
Good
up.
ult.
Kane is chunked. He's going to fall. I think the
Cherry's
Baron
there.
adds the Jarvan.
Oh
Cherry,
my God.
no! That is not what you want to see if you're NLE, but Emery's is going over the wall, and Cherry's
my
goes right back as the
goodness.
Fate Sealed lands. There's going to be enough. Peels is in the middle. He's in the middle of that Glacial Storm. It's just Emery's, and I think even
Bongo's
with that
untouched.
Heartbreaker, it's not going to be enough, but Bongo gets the true shot, but that's
Oh,
nice
no.
Q3. Bongo, he's going to fall, and it's just the bird, and even though that wall is helpful, Mocha trying to get that flash bubble, and she gets absolutely nuked. But you see, there's a nice triangle formation. They're going on the bird. Professor Hex is trying to buy time, but with Baywa in the area, I think this bird is as good as cooked as
Nice.
Alternative takes that kill, and a nice ace for Contingent Orange.
Picking up the Baron as well. Shout out to Cherry. Kind of broke Emery's ankles. EQ's in. Flashes out, then EQ's in again. Emery's trying to do their best to keep tabs on Cherry. Unable to do so. Gets the Baron, gets out, goes back in. And that's just a one fight. Going to lead to an inhib as well off the back of that Baron play.
And the objective bounties will be activated as well as the mid lane inhibitor falls. Ah, yes. What an absolute banger of a game we have tonight, gentlemen. 45 kills in a 26-minute game. We're getting to LPL levels of excitement that I love to see, especially because both these teams are completely willing to fight. I mean, less so NLE has to rely more on Kane to land a hook on the crucial member in this instance, like we saw earlier. But oh, this is exciting. I'm pumped up for how tonight is going to end up being. So as you said right at the end of that whole thing, Baron, boom, mid lane inhibitor, boom. They're pretty much in prime control to take this game for themselves. It's really up. I think it's gonna be one more fight. There is a number of things that they could decide to do here, since mid lane will always be pushing. They could opt for the 4-1 in this instance, kind of send Yone probably to the top side as they're doing. They could rotate themselves bottom side, open that lane up even more, take that tier 2. But I'm not sure what they're planning on doing. Looks like they just kind of want to keep pressure on mid lane. As I say that, they're starting to rotate down, so they are listening. Nice. Go with the 4-1 style. Leave Yone up there. All of you take your 4 happy butts down there as Cherry.
Viego top side though. Look at top. Viego trying to catch out this Yone unawares. I will say, Peels for a while there had a two level lead. I don't know how you ever match this guy. You have to bring 2 or 3, right? And so I love this 4-1 look from Contingent Esports. Just leave Peels alone on an island. Could probably even 2v1 at this point. We'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, I think they're a little bit overstaying trying to get Peels here, right? We see 4 members of Contingent Orange uncontested, but Peels trying to buy some space. He said, hey, I don't care. He's buying time for his team, canceling Emery's back, and I think they might be able to pick up another kill as Cherries goes in.
Oh my God, that combo.
With the shockwave. That bird is gone. That bird is done, is dead as the double kill. Nice force shot there for Baywa, and I think that's going to be another tower on the side of Contingent Orange here.
Does it even look like Cherry took like 4 tower shots? Doesn't look like it, right? The Nami healing being so crucial there. And there's no hesitation in that play. They saw it, they took it just immediately. Really good stuff for Contingent so far.
Yeah, and at this point, I mean, the Baron has just fell off. They could just kind of force their way further and further into this base. Yone's still on the top side. They have to make an engagement like now if they want to try to save this game. Otherwise, once this Orianna ult is up again, they're just going to be blown up and the game's over as they're hitting these Nexus towers. Here they go.
But it looks like we're seeing a little bit of action as Peels doesn't even want to be in this picture, but Fury is trying to buy space. But Cherry coming in with the flag and drag. Fury is a little bit chunkier, but the True Shot Barrage, it doesn't land on anybody. Forcing out the hook. Cherry is getting chunked a little bit here, but that's off wave and finds 4, getting the triple kill. And even though Peels is here, I don't think it ended up mattering, as it's just an egg, and that egg is good as dead. Alternative with the massive shockwave to end game 1 and start this series off with a bang.
Oh my God. Oh my God. That combo is disgusting. Good Lord. It's just the shockwave into the cataclysm, 1 Jin auto, and that's a triple kill. What a game 1 we had. 17 to 35 at the end of that. Oh, that was just absolutely nuts. So there's just so much that we would have to go over. Alternative played out of their mind on this Oriana. Kind of what we expected when we saw the pick. But man, oh man, just that draft was amazing to see from Contingent. I know we memed it a little bit, like not much, but a little bit. But I think NLE's draft did exactly what we thought it would in this case. Of it really wasn't able to be cohesive enough to stop the train from rolling once Contingent got started.
Hey, so I guess both Righteous and Freak, I know you're probably looking at this post game screen the same way I'm looking at it. We're looking at the most damage over to the side of NLE. It's Professor Hex with 21k damage. Alternative doubled that, right? Doing 44k damage, doing
Yeah.
absolutely putting on a clinic, ending that game 10-1 and 23. We were seeing so many shockwaves. I thought I was eventually just going to recreate that clip, right? Faker's shockwave. I was going to say alternative shockwave. I almost got it at the end there, but still, that was an excellent performance there from this Oriana. And I think right now you got to be really careful, especially if you're going to lock the bird in, because that Jarvan Oriana combo, also, you got to be so scared of that, man.
Cherry looking very proficient on the Jarvan. It doesn't help when Oriana just gets free gold thrown at her, right? Botch dive twice, first from Emery's, then from Professor Hex. So took that gold and ran with the game, right? I will say before loading in, there was just a little bit of inkling. I really thought Contingent Esports comp was just way easier to execute, and you saw the power in that, right? Show up, press R, people die. NLE had to look for those picks, and yeah, they found a few. Especially in the early game. Really good job at punishing the Jib-Nami. I would like to see that done a little bit more, but unfortunately not able to do so. And so gonna have to go back to the drawing board before this game too. As we look forward to another banger. I mean, that game was fun, guys.
Okay, so last thing we're going to talk about real quick. NLE has selected to stay on blue side again.
Interesting.
I find that to be very interesting as well. So maybe they're like, okay, game one, didn't entirely go well, but from here we'll kind of just go from there. But that'll be more things we're gonna go ahead and talk about when we start getting into draft for game two. But if you guys, I think we should take a little bit of a break after that one. Let Badger rest his voice a little bit, and then we'll be right back for game two draft. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back after that quick little break as we're about to get started here with draft number 2. Guys, is there anything that I know we were talking about a bit in break, but what are we expecting to see the change up be for NLE? Is there stick them at the same side here?
I'd like to
Maybe.
see a more blind pickable
Yeah.
champion taken B1. It wasn't, and maybe I will say it wasn't really the overlying issue, but it was an issue. It didn't get a lot done, not a lot of mid pressure. And Oriana kind of just had their way with that champion, especially with the support from Jarvan.
Mm-hmm. And
I
it was
will
really
say,
interesting. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
oh yeah, sorry. Devil's advocate, just quick note. I do think part of it is also just that fiesta that happened under Alternative's turret, where he gets the kill on Professor Hex, he gets the kills on Emery's. That kind of catalyzed it, so maybe that alters our view of it a little bit. So maybe they're like, we aren't gonna int again, we're not gonna die under tower. So maybe they're still feeling confident in the bird. I think it is possible, but I'm honestly expecting just or a jinx here, to be honest.
Yeah, and as we're going to head and get into draft right now. So NLE, as we mentioned, still on the blue side, Contingent Orange on the red side. Will the bands change? Probably not. I do expect, hopefully, the first pick to change. Nivea was doing a lot of damage, but I feel like they need to pick something else that has more agency in the middle lane. Not saying Nivea doesn't, but I think something else that
So
they shouldn't reveal their mid so early. I think is what I'm trying to get at. Rather, I
the
think
Poppy
maybe
ban
something else.
screams that Contingent wants Jarvan to me. So if you're NLE, I think he
Hmm.
might look at B1ing Jarvan or potentially banning it if he can't play it.
I mean, this is a repeat. It's a repeat ban from last time, as it looks like all these bans have been the same for both sides, but the Poppy was the ban. But
Jarvan
actually,
ban.
the response there from
There it
NLE
is.
saying, "Hey, Cherry,
Good.
you put in the work on the champ. The champ's pretty strong right now. We're getting rid of it."
Actually, a smart, intelligent adaptation coming out of NLE that does leaves the Belveth open unless they want to ban it on third here. I don't anticipate that they will leave it open, considering it is a comfort pick for Contingent. But the Ziggs being hovered right now at the moment was also banned away in the previous game. Ziggs is pretty obnoxious. However, with the tower changes, I don't think he's as obnoxious as he used to be anymore, as they will go ahead and take their last few seconds and ban away the Ziggs. Okay, they took their dear sweet time on that one. All right, NLE, what you got for us? You gonna take the Belva off the table? You're gonna take something else off the table? Maybe take something like the Oriana off the table if you want to. As obviously, Alternative was very strong in the
Yone,
previous game.
perhaps?
Yone is another one. So like, there's options unless they want to first pick Yone. Hey, I mean,
I think it'll be Belveth, to be honest. Just don't give Cherry that comfort pick, right?
Mhm.
I will say last
Lucian.
game, okay, Lucian. So
A
Cherry
little bit
does
of an
have
ego
Belveth
not banning it, to
available.
be honest. I guess Emery's is pretty confident he has a counter pick for it, but kind of surprised to not see it banned away, as Lucian's the priority there for Baywa.
I feel like you can
Well,
play into Belveth though. If you have a really good matchup that can kind of just bully the Belveth, I think you're okay with that, which is probably why they're leaving it open. So I think usually when picks like that are left open, it's usually the other team being like, "We dare you to pick it. We have an answer into it." Now I could be blowing smoke out of my butt, of course, but they're gonna go ahead and ban away the Seraphine for the side of Contingent. So all right, first pick here. You did say Jinx or Jin, and there is the first pick, Jinx.
yeah, good call by Badger. Picking up that Jinx, just a safe, blindable ADC. Doesn't give a ton of information to Contingent. I would expect to see some kind of enchanter to come out alongside that pick. You don't obviously have to, but if you're gonna play like a Belveth counter, something that comes to mind is like Kha'Zix, maybe. I know it's been pretty popular as of recently. You want something to be able to buff up those squishy junglers that might come out as
Wow.
response, as we see Ezreal
Ezreal
hovered
again.
and locked in.
I'm surprised the Virtuoso didn't show up there. I think I guess Ezreal Baywa is pretty confident on it. I have seen him perform well, but I just think Jin is just super strong on the patch right now. Maybe they don't like the Jinx matchup here, but I think you got to have a pretty good response here on this R2 from the side of Contingent Orange to kind of like make up for what I would consider a tier below 80 carry.
Because I think Jinx is like S tier right now, but when hasn't she been like for the past like several patches now? But they're gonna go ahead and take their time. The Leona is a very good pick. Leona is absolutely busted. Has a most obnoxious lockdown out of any support in the game. So I think that's a very good pick. This also means please take cleanse. I've seen too many ADCs this patch not take cleanse, so I'm gonna throw that out there right now. Anyways, so NLE, that you now see the pick. I think Alistar is a pretty decent pick that they could pick into it. Wukong, actually, that they're going to go ahead and potentially pick. Only say potentially. Okay, so they go ahead and lock in the Wukong. That's very interesting. And Rel, okay, they're cooking something here. They're cooking something.
Expect Talia to come out here on R3.
Mhm.
It's gonna be Talia or Nasus. I'm calling my shot. I have a little bit of a cheat sheet pulled up from actually this is a play-ins comp from Orange. So we'll have to see if they actually follow this script. I think Talia here gets massive value between the Wukong and Rel.
I agree. And just that champion is really, really obnoxious. If they really wanted to, Contingent could even pair Vi with it as well, just to have that absolute control and lockdown that those two champions can provide, especially with the Leona in your back pocket as well. But I do have to say, I like NLE's draft so far at this point. And Contingent is looking also mighty nice as well,
Oh, there's
as
the
it looks
Bel'Veth.
like Cherry will get the Bel'Veth comfort pick that they are so comfortable on. My oh my, are we going to see Cherry pop off this game?
Hey, and I mean, we talked about potentially, we saw NLE, they were like, hey, we're going to leave up this Bel'Veth. We're going to have a response into it. But they actually picked the jungle pretty early into the comp, right? Giving Cherry the opportunity to say, hey, I'm confident with what I've seen so far to play my favorite champion. And I think that has got to be something that NLE is pretty cautious of here. I think Talia is still an option here for Contingent Orange, but what I'm expecting is I'm wanting to see some mid lane bans. I think Anivia is pretty solid. I also really think Syndra is pretty high on the priority sheet right now. Syndra is so strong with those Storm Surge changes, those Ludens changes. It also shuts down Talia pretty hard. She outranges you, and it's just a lot of damage. And I think that is a champ that I've seen that Professor Hex plays it. I think you got to be careful of it.
Oriana's
Let's-
another champion that could be good for both sides. Of course, Contingent
True.
doesn't have to ban it away. They could just opt to R for it. So if you're NLE, you have to be wary. You know, they just performed so good on that champion. Handing it over again seems scary to me, especially as a takeaway. The Wukong really wants the Oriana, so we'll have to see what happens there. But I mean, so far it's a lot of scaling for NLE, right? Wukong's a champ that really wants to get their first item, level 6, before really doing anything. Rel, Jinx could be chilling on the bot side, letting Jinx scale up as
Vex.
well. Vex is the ban away.
That's very interesting. I'm not entirely sure why they would ban that away. I'm actually shocked they hovered the Yoni just to not end up doing it, which is a little amount to me. I feel like with how broke that champion was in the previous game, you would want to take that off the table, but they might go back to the Rumble that they did in game 1. Oh, no, they baited me. All right, they're going to go ahead and take the Yona off, which I 100% agree with. That champion is stupid and broken. But Contingent now, you have a lot of options of what you could do. You know what you see on the other side. You have to blind something here. Usually, I think blinding mid is better here because at least getting the counter pick for top lane is huge, especially since Contingent knows that their top side
Oriana.
is really strong, or rather
Oriana.
NLE knows. Oh wow,
Yeah.
you're right on the money with that one. Especially because NLE knows that Peels is very good in that top lane, so kind of pinching that pool a little bit will help. And Nasus is the
Susan.
response. Oh, okay, they got us excited for a second.
Fizz is actually a
I'm
very
happy.
good answer, at least in solo queue into Oriana. Annie is not. I think it pairs kind of well, but I don't think.
Do
I
not
think they're
pick
kind of
that.
just
Spoiler,
cycling through.
bro.
Don't do that. No, don't do that one.
That ship is bad. Okay.
That champ's bad. Ari ends up coming out great pairing. Wait, actually, you know what? They're cycling through.
just-
I'm not going to
they're-
answer until I see what's locked in. But oh, wait a minute. Am I right? Am I a
I would like
genius?
this.
I'm a genius. As
There
we
you
see the
go.
Syndra, right? I called it. I think it's so good. It has a really. It's been a notoriously even matchup. I think it's slightly Syndra favored, especially with the buffs that both champs have gotten. I think Syndra came out on top a little bit. I think while Oriana provides a lot in the utility, if this Syndra is untouched, if she gets to max splinters, it's really tough to shut her down. She pops you. You will die. But we're going to
would
see
not
now
like
what the blind top is it might end up being Piltover's finest.
This would surprise me. Okay.
I
Nar's
like
a really
that.
safe. Yeah, Nar's a really safe blind champ that can do damage, do work in the team fights. Obviously, you have to play around the Nar bar. NLE's comp looks a lot better from game 1. A lot more cohesive. It's show up, team fight.
Oh, there's a universe where we might see a Nasus top, or they're just kind of hovering it for funsies. But there are a number of things that they could play here into the Gnar. It is a Reigns matchup, so they would be on the back foot for a little bit.
It could be Narcissus.
I would say I wouldn't be upset with.
Oh,
I was
monster.
literally about to say Malphite is like one of the best options here, and they go ahead and lock it in. Malphite is so good into champions like Gnar, just makes their life miserable when they go ahead and start stacking that armor. Now, this does mean with that armor stack, it will be Gnar not able to do any damage. Wukong, not able to do any damage. So, and what we saw Peels do in the previous game, just press R and win the team fight for his team, probably inevitably the same thing happening in this game, because the amount of absolute damage that we could see out of this Orianna Bel'Veth combo is gonna be gross. I have to say though, I like this Malphite pick a lot. It's incredibly good into what NLE wants to try to do, and you always have to fear that unstoppable force coming in right at you.
Look,
Well,
man,
yeah.
I know someone. He's an AP Gnar enthusiast, right? Is it good? No, but it prevents that armor stacking. But I doubt it's coming out here. It's probably just going to be the traditional Gnar, and that Malphite just counters that traditional Gnar so hard. It gets so much value just popping in the unstoppable force, going on the Jinx. It's tough here if you're NLE.
Yeah, I mean, we look at NLE's comp, right? Most of the damage is coming out between Jinx, Syndra, so it's going to be up to them to not just get absolutely wombo comboed by the Malphite ult, by the Orianna ult, by the Leona. There's so many tools available to pick off these, carries that are so important to NLE's comp, and it can fall apart kind of quickly. Speaking of the scaling options, NLE wanting to scale between the Syndra and the Jinx, Bel'Veth screams, that they can get aggressive, especially on a Wukong that I think is a little bit weaker early than the Bel'Veth on the other side.
Oh boy, I'm excited for how these team fights could potentially end up. We saw in the previous game just how explosive these team fights were. And now with these two comps that have we're just gonna send it buttons. Badger, I hope you got water right by you right now. I hope you got plenty of water right by you coming up for this second game. We are in for an absolute ride. I don't think this game's really gonna matter in terms of like the bottom lanes. I'm 99% sure it will be all topside giving us all the action. Now watch. Now that I say that, I'll probably be wrong. But just seeing what we're in for this series, for this coming game, this means that NLE have a chance to even it out 1-1. But if Contingents go ahead and take this game, that puts NLE in a very difficult position for the rest of the night. Oh boy, it's gonna be very hard to see. I'm excited for this game, guys. Are you also excited for this game?
I'm very
gonna be a
excited.
banger.
Dude, game one was so fun. I think it just gets up to another level with these two team fight comps for game two. We'll have to see how it goes, as we'll take a little bit of a spectator delay break, and we'll be right back with game two of these grand finals. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to game 2 of this grand finals here for LXC. As we see everybody running towards bot for Contingent Orange. I don't know if it'll come to anything. As
We're
we
just
see a
pinging
regular
for
5
fun.
point. Yeah, we see a regular 5 point coming out from NLE. Gentlemen, look at Emery's summoner spells. Interesting choice. So
Those
I
are
was talking
solo queue summoners.
I was talking about how Wukong could struggle early into cherries if they choose to be aggressive into it. Wukong's a notorious pick for wanting levels and wanting gold to get those items. That kind of goes away a little bit with the Ignite available. However, I think it also limits your opportunities to engage with the Wukong ultimate with not having that flash available to you.
Especially because we'll see a lot of like flashy R combos out of Wukong, so not having that could be pretty devastating. What?
Devastatial.
Devastating? I just made up a new word, I guess, but devastating for the side of NLE is I think we're gonna get a little bit of a cheeky level 1. I'm assuming Leona started
This
E.
might
Never
be, yeah, it
mind.
might be devastating. As Baywa
Baywa
trying to get that cube
Prove
off.
that Q.
Looks like nothing, but we're seeing the W actually come out onto Kane. Mocha's getting a little bit of aggressive trade here, but the stun actually coming out from Mocha.
Oof.
Yeah, for sure, looking up a little bit of that damage, but that's not the trade you want to see to start off this game is for Orange.
Especially because Jinx Rockets do have extra AD in them. So the little bit of a losing trade, Mocha is forced to burn the pot here. And on the other side, Kane was not. So a little bit of a good start for this bottom lane. They're trying to force 2 now so they can go ahead and go in first. This is typically the move that you'll see with engaged supports is people try to hit level 2 first. And as we're kind of going across the map, it's pretty expected, I'd say. Malphite's going to get bullied early until some of that armor comes through. Then Gnar will absolutely tickle for the rest of the game. There is
We're
a
seeing
unit
a really aggressive
hole.
shift in there from Baywa, but the W does
Ooh.
miss as the Zenith
This
Blade
bait.
barely doesn't tag onto Kane. And it looks like there was a lot of action, but nothing ended up happening. As we see the
Uh-oh, wait a
stun
minute.
land from Professor Hex, but Emery's not in the right position yet. He's a little bit behind, but Emery's
Look at
he's looking to be.
Cherries.
Both junglers are kind of feeling, hey, what's up? But it looks like Professor Hex is the first one to fall. As we see the W come out, their Cherry is able to get the command, protect, command, flash out from Cherry, but we see the
Oh
flash.
my god, that's PM.
Is it gonna get the kill? I think it's close. And at first blood over to the ghost. He's able to get it. And Monkey, he's on the hunt. He has level 3 with the red buff, and that Conqueror fully stuck. Wait a minute, Professor X, you gotta be careful, man. That's a lot of damage. And Emery's is still hanging out. I'm a little surprised Alternative is playing it a little back, right? They're shoving in the wave. They're gonna try to punish, but actually that level 3 might have been enough to save Alternative, as we're gonna see if they're gonna try, but it looks like Professor X is a little low, so they're gonna back off this time.
Something about this
Guys.
series and junglers dying under the opposing mid lane's tower.
And are we trolling? Because that was probably the best dubstep ignite I've ever seen. Because literally Emery's went for it, got the ignite, and the last tick ended up securing the first blood, which right as we were saying, well, we stand corrected on that one because we don't know what we're doing apparently. So Emery's is the GOAT. We'll go ahead and see if they are able to make more momentum for this game. I do think you need to start getting...
Cherry's done.
Cherry.
Cherry is in the area, but we see the
Ooh,
Zenith
the
Blade
Zenith
actually
Blade.
getting
Oh.
W to cancel. Mocha trying to get the stun off, but I think you're just not enough space as they go back to the tower. They retreat. But right now, that's still a lot of pressure put on the NLE bot lane as we see the stun land on Alternative, and Emery's is in the area, but I think they got spotted out by that ward, as it looks like there's going to be some invading, but he's spotted.
Jinx and Rel are put in such a tough position here, right? The freeze is basically unbreakable for them on their own. Wukong on the top side, Baywa and Mocha know it.
Cherry is mid-side right now, getting a little bit of some deep vision, I would assume. If there was a world where Cherry saw Professor Hex, where Professor Hex just dies because he has no flash, so I mean, what are you gonna do there? But this will mean that as I'm looking on the bottom side of the map right now, yeah,
will
Cherry's
say-
doing this.
Cherry
Fury.
is doing this right now, kind of going for this
He's gonna
aggressive.
secure it and get out. Yeah.
Looks like it.
Fury taken very, very low. We see the power of the Arcane Comet Malphite coming through from Peels. Definitely the rune you want to take. Is it rune or mastery? I don't remember.
I don't know if
Anyways,
that matters right
it's
now, as
the-
it
it's
looks
the
like these
greedy.
junglers are going to fight each other as they both dash in on top of each other. But Emery's, he's
first
able to
move.
start proccing his passive first. But Mocha's in the area to stun, but we see the stun actually landing on Alternative. And his
Oh.
flash Zenith Blade. Alternative is getting knocked up. He's getting dealt down. And Alternative picks up that kill. Professor Hex was the one to fall. I'm a little silly, but we see the clone trying to buy time. Cherry falls. Emery's picks up the kill. Emery's
No
in a decent
way.
spot if he can find Alternative, but Alternative is doing a great job buying space. I know Leona does a lot of damage, but I don't know if it's enough. Oh my gosh, it is. And with that blue buff, I think Mocha's probably going to fall as we see a support fight. But it looks like with that
No.
W missing, Kane picks up the kill. And that is a wacky little interaction and ends up being a pretty good side for NLE there.
Honestly, props to Mocha for keeping the kill away from Jinx's hands. Look at the CS lead that has just ballooned from that freeze earlier in the bot side. Jinx kind of kicking themselves they couldn't get that kill.
There is a rule of thumb too that about 16 CS of a lead is about 1 kill worth of gold. As I'm looking at it, it is about 240 gold, so it's pretty close. I think Jinx just got back to lane, so it is going to be picking up some of this farm. And oh, hello,
Shockwave
Shockwave.
landing mid as we
ultimate.
see both mid laners land 6 here. We're seeing some
Flash.
really aggressive trading, getting the autos off, get that passive damage, but I think there's not enough ground to cover here as Alternative's going to be happy, but he actually has a really nice wave state here. Professor Hex is probably going to have to call Emery's over, but instead they're just going to go take grubs and say, hey, we're okay with that trade.
I'd like to see Professor Hex back because you really need to. You're just gonna give Orianna an extended freeze, one that you really shouldn't be giving over for free.
And oh, can I just compliment like Alternative's like footwork during that little exchange, just kind of being on the lookout for that Syndra Q or the E to come through. Just absolutely well done with that phase rush. But yeah, Professor Hex now gonna go ahead and try to shove this in as the next wave is
Must
going to
have-
crash.
We
Does it
see
do-
a
Oh,
lot of members
no.
of Contingent Orange find Syndra, but they're going in with the Hex Flash. I think you could have just ran, but the Zenith Blade does land. The Flash
was
is going to be enough, and
disrespectful.
Cherry didn't expect the Flash as the W misses. But we see all 5 members were trying to put that Syndra in the dirt, but she gets out of this one this time.
Game?
Oh, and actually now bot side, we see Baywa is getting aggressively traded on as I think he already used his Arcane Shift. But with that W going wide, I think he's going to be able to get out of the way this time.
gotta be careful. Feels like his ult here.
Fury
Oh,
actually
wait,
was
here we
about to
go.
go Mega. He's up a level. He lands the W. Is he going to go for the root? I think he waited a little too long there as he's not in a position. But now we're seeing fights all over the map here as now Alternative looks to be zoned out, but he has Cherry as a backup. But we see the W land on both.
no.
Longo setting up the E, setting up the traps, but Cherry is trying to get
This
here,
is
but there are 4
aggressive.
members.
Oh!
The True Shot Barrage to finish off Kane, but it looks like Bel'Veth falls. Emery's is low, but Zenith Blade
Big
lands on
E.
Professor Hex. But we see Baywa's going to be able to free hit here, and it looks like with
Ignite?
that stun, is it going to be enough to push
No.
back the
Flash
Flash Q from Baywa to finish that off? That is a great turnaround.
And Mocha doing a really great job of playing kind of within that zone, right? I think Emery's and Kane kind of bit off a little bit more they could chew. Went into that chokehold, then Leona was there immediately for the punish.
And I have to say, this Leona pick has been proving dividends so far. That lockdown CC has been proving crucial as Emery's will be spotted on this ward in the middle lane. I think Alternative got the second, or not the second plate, but a plate off of that. So a little bit of extra gold to go back with. I imagine we're going to get the same exact build. The Lost Chapter should be done. Lost Chapter into boots, I would assume. Ah, wow. How about that? Lost Chapter into boots into 1 more amp tone. So, nice. Go me on that one. And Professor Hex does have the Lost Chapter in half of what I assume is the Ludens done. On the other side, we have the Steel Caps done for Peels. Really has been kind of playing Farmville Simulator with this champion. And as I
Might not
say
be
that,
Farmville any longer as Cherry is positioning aggressively, but the Gnar is Mega. I think that ultimate could be
That's
up to buy
flash.
time as he does land on both, but the Q, but the big rock comes in and Peels is able to land. But actually a really nice stun there from Fury. Even though he had to flash out, that was a great play. Not getting punished there. But now bot side, we see it as the True Shot Barrage, the rocket hits Alternative. That's not the target you want. Mocha, he's trying to fight. They're trying to fight. And even though the root lands on Syndra, that is a kill over the monkey. But Cherry trying to land the flash W and
The Israel.
misses. It is not enough. And even with the ball on you, I don't think it's going to be enough to continue this fight as Alternative. Cherry. But now
Alternative
Emery's
is
going in aggressively here on low
Ignite?
HP. Just basically murders him. He murders him. He just
can't,
gets him done. He gets him with the Q Conqueror stacked, and he just wallops him to death.
This Ignite tech has proven so good from Emery's. I was a little bit skeptical. I hadn't seen it a lot. But it's been paying
skeptical of his
dividends.
Baywa. Oh, actually, what a
Oh.
nice sidestep
Sidestep.
there. But he's slowed down already, so I think you got to buy a lot of time
Algo has
into
to be
Arcane Shift.
careful.
But we see the Magnet pull come out from Kane. And I think for some reason, I'm not seeing the Arcane Shift. There it is. Last bit. It misses. That is a great play there for Baywa. I thought he was gone and dust. But right now, even though they didn't get that kill, Cherry, she's looking to pick up that dragon with Wukong on the other side of the map. I think that's as good as Contingent Oranges.
40 HP was how much HP Baywa had at the end of that. 40 HP. Good lord, just the fact that there was no vision in that bush prevented Bunko from securing that kill. And I think you're going to be kicking yourself for that one a little bit. The Arcane Ship coming back up just in time. Now you did mention the Drake was taken on the other side. We're actually getting a play onto the Rift, not the Rift Herald, but the Void Grubs as a TP in mid lane is coming as well.
We see Alternative does have that shockwave, but it looks like the clone is going to take the brunt of the damage. But Mocha,
Oh.
she finds Professor Hex, and the Q is able to land the Zenith Blade to follow it up. Cherry's trying to get some continued damage, but the W misses. I'm surprised. Are they going to go for the shockwave? It doesn't matter. It isn't needed as Cherry's able to pick up that kill, as it looks like the members of Contingent Orange are going to take those 2 grubs for themselves.
Look how close the flash was coming up from Professor Hex. Just such a good punish to find the flashless champion, right? Unfortunately, Professor Hex obviously a little ill-advised walking into a brush with no vision, but really good punish picking up those grubs as well. Gonna unlock that form for Belveth in doing so.
1 and 3 on this Cinder. Professor Hex, I think this is like vastly different from the previous game. By this point, I think Professor Hex was only down like 1 kill, but the CS was pretty close. Now is up almost 20 CS over Alternative. And
400 gold up as well.
But now,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Baywa, you were in a bad spot
Hello.
earlier, and it looks like you're in that continued bad spot as Wukong is going to get the Cyclone off. We see the continued, and oh my gosh, he just got one shot. That wasn't even
Wow.
close. As Mocha's
TP
trying to
coming
buy
through.
time, but I think it's not going to matter as the stun actually doesn't
Alternative.
land. But Professor Hex is doing a good job trying to get some things. Alternative is here to get the
Yeah.
bang,
Ooh.
and he finds the shockwave, but Mocha continuing to engage as it looks like it's going to be a
That's
trade.
shut
But still,
down.
Professor Hex, you got to be careful. Cherry is very, very scary, but it's not going to be enough here as it ends up just being a 1-for-1. Nope, 2-for-1 at the end of the day.
I like
2
that.
for 1. Professor Hex having to blow that flash basically on cooldown though, so it'll be interesting to see if Contingent is able to punish once again.
Belfry TP'd to the mid lane, I think just to protect the tower from Jinx. Now, I'm going to go back to the Void Grubs fight just for a little bit because
Alternative, a little scary.
it's...
Man, I want to go back to the fight, but there's so much action going on as we see the flash Q into the ultimate, and I think it's going to be
No!
the auto to finish it off. Great work there from the duo from the side of NLE as they pick up that nice kill.
Maybe holding on to the flash was a little disrespectful from Alternative. I think they could have gotten out sooner, but shoulda, woulda, coulda. Alternative does end up going down Syndra, getting the kill at the end of the day. Now I'll go back to the Rift Herald fight. What the good news is from that Rift Herald fight is NLE did get 4, so they do have those Void Mites. And I think you're okay with that if you're on the side of NLE. We're getting a dive.
Man, I think, all right, here goes my voice again as we
Oh,
see the
no.
Unstoppable Force come out, and the Fury Mega Gnar is not
No.
going to show up here. Cherry getting the smite, getting the stun, and but
Oh,
she
that's
takes
some
2
damage.
tower shots. That's a lot of damage, but it looks like it's actually going to be a tower trade here as the members of NLE are on the bot side, and actually Contingent Orange is backing off. I'm surprised here. It's a kill
No
for a
wave.
turret. I don't think that's worth.
They'll stay. They just didn't have a wave. They had
Oh,
to
okay.
escort it.
Yeah.
Cherry's gonna be doing a lot of damage with the what are the little Belveth passives called?
Good
Voidlings?
question.
The original Grubs.
The
The
original
original
grubs.
grubs.
yeah.
The original Void Mites.
Actually, good question. What are they called? Death and everything, blah, blah, blah. It's just one
It doesn't
lavender.
matter. Emery's
Yeah.
finds Alternative again, and the Shockwave to dodge. Oh, that's nice. The W. Wait, the
The
Ignite! It's the tech is so crazy, by the way. Oh my gosh. Wait, he's kind of styling on him as he's already up 7 kills.
You
What do we
can't
know?
dodge Ignite. You might dodge the Wukong ultimate, but you can't dodge the point and click. This Ignite Wukong is actually doing so much work. It's been fun to watch. Definitely gonna be something that once you get into game 3, regardless of the outcome of this game, I have to
Some
pay attention
aggressive
to.
positioning here from Baywa, but when Emery shows up, he says, all right, we're going to stop as they're just using that control word to their advantage, but members of NLE are pushing in this tower pretty well right now, as it looks like they're actually trying to look. I'm surprised at the aggressive positioning here from Contingent Orange, right? They have Cherry, and I guess they have Peels in the area, but still, I'm a little surprised that NLE didn't snap there.
So one thing we need to
Yeah.
keep in mind is we are 30 seconds away from this next Drake. 14 minutes in the game and it's the second Drake, so we're going to be a little ways away from a soul. But I have to say that this does potentially mean that this fight could make or break the game, I would say. Now, it looks like Belbeth is going to try to get the Rift Herald to get her passive off. Now,
No,
at
actually
13
up in the bot side. Oh my
Oh,
gosh,
boy.
alternative falls, and that is so much damage there from the side of Syndra. Orianna just isn't able to keep up with the damage anymore from Syndra. This Wukong has gotten that lead, and right now it's looking really, really tough for Contingent Orange here.
Mm-hmm.
They do get the Rift Herald. They're gonna drop it
We're
immediately on this
dropping it
mid
now?
lane. I think it's just to create some pseudo pressure for this Drake. Look at the angle the Rift Herald's taking. Kind of funny.
As to see the stun lands onto
Oh, that was
Mocha. I
nice.
don't think there's enough trade, but we see Zenith Blade actually missing. I'm surprised if they took it. It might have been bad, but Peels is here. He's going to be that unstoppable force. He's going to go in with it, and it would be a lot of damage, but they're going to back off this time, as it looks like they're going to concede this dragon over to the side of NLE.
Yeah, they're gonna
Yeah,
get the mid lane tower in response as well. And I think that's the better call. Open up this mid lane, and actually, I don't think they get it. I think E auto should take it. Oh, never mind.
The
They have
stun
to
comes
come
out onto Peels, but he's a pretty tanky rock, as they're trying to get something done, but
Wow,
doesn't enough. As they just send Monkey to it.
that was some good macro, especially from
Oh,
NL.
no.
Not
Oh,
again.
alternative looks to be caught again. I don't know if the shockwave is going to be
Oh,
enough.
geez.
Actually, it might be with a TP to follow it up, as they are going on the aggressive here, trying to buy enough space, giving the speed to Cherry. Are they going to be able to
Professor
find
X
the
is
monkey?
here.
The W, they're trying to buy time. He doesn't have clone. He's faking him out, but Emery's not able to get in range. I respect the hustle, but that is a shutdown over to Peels.
Dude, he had the ignite available. If alternative was just a couple steps forward, would have been another kill for Emery's. Unfortunately, doesn't go the way of the Sun Wukong, as we see.
We see the Zenith Blade
on
into the
Kane.
stun, landing onto Kane. Actually, a great
nice.
cancel there into Kane. Cherry doing a great job, and Bay was able to pick up the kill there. Contingent Orange, they kind of have a little bit more life in them than I gave him credit for.
Yeah, swings of gold only down 1,000 now. Gonna be even less when they pick up this mid lane tower.
Nice, and that'll be more gold over to them. Open up the map. This gold lead has been kind of chunking smaller and smaller in favor of Contingents. It was starting to get away from them a little bit after those past couple of.
Quite an aggressive play there from Cherry, forcing the flash for flash. Emery's in the angle, but I actually think that it might be value, right? Cherry has a lot of dashes, and you know how many dashes Jinx has when flash is down? Absolutely
what?
none.
It's true. The guy's spitting facts. Badger does not lie on cast. But I want to point out the difference between it's basically Baywa versus Emery's right now. Baywa's kind of the only gold leader for Contingent, while there's several, but Emery's standing out as the I would say the overall gold leader probably at this point. Be interested to see if Baywa's gonna be. We see Cherry actually probably caught out
Cherry,
here.
as the E does come out, but it looks like
Okay.
Cherry's gonna be able to dash away, trying to buy space with that W, but nothing happens there. Nothing happens.
Yeah, it'll just be interesting to see the kind of fight between Baywa and Emery's.
Emery's is on the hunt for alternative. He keeps finding. I think I keep seeing it. Oh my
dead.
gosh, that's so much damage. The ignite secures it there, and Emery's is in alternative's head this game. I'm gonna be so honest.
It's just like everywhere the alternative goes, Emery shows up to kill.
So you were saying something earlier, Badger in particular. Well, Professor X is about to get dove, but you were saying something earlier. It's a 4-man in the bottom lane. This is unfair.
I think I'm talking again. I'm sorry, Freak, as it looks like it's not actually a really good flash. They laid the 2-man stun here. Professor Hex is doing a good
Nice.
job trying to survive, but
Nice.
I think
Cherry's
Cherry
gonna go-
take too much. But I think they did a good job. That was a little scuffed, I'll be honest, but it ends up being okay for this
Yeah,
to
tier
Contingent
2
Orange to
trade,
take the
though.
tower and the kill. Oh
Yeah,
man.
like it was a tier 2 trade at the end of that entire play. Actually, 2 towers ended up falling. So in terms of standing gold, it's more in favor for NLE. I don't think that is worth it. So Professor Hex dies, and you got, I think it was not a shutdown, I don't believe actually, but you got the kill over onto Baywa. And from there, it's like, okay, cool, we got the kill. We get the bot lane tower. It's like, well, psych, you're losing tier 2 in the top lane, so that's a really long lane now. And you lost tier 1 in the mid lane. So it gives more map pressure over to the side of NLE, as they're going to be looking forward to, push that pressure forward. Get some of this deep vision like Mocha is doing right now, actually. And we haven't actually talked much about Vision. I'm not gonna lie. Emery's, are you gonna do it again? Nope, nope.
It almost looked like the fourth time, but this time Alternative had a little bit of friends to back him up, the side of friendship.
my
But
God.
Cherry is
this
here.
is gonna make it out. But Cherry actually positioned very aggressively here, but it looks like she was spotted out by the ward. Good job from Kane there, but Mocha in an aggressive position here, trying to make sure nothing
They want
happens. Cherry
this.
actually dashes forward.
minute.
Kane, support fight. They're trying to get it started as Emery's is sitting in the brush, but it's warded. As Bongo trying to get
Oh,
something, trying to
hello.
get more than one
Syndra.
assist, but we see the double TP coming out from
Maybe
Syndra.
5v5.
But we see it lands a Magnet Storm. It's gonna
Whoa.
be enough. Mocha's chunked, and we see Ezreal falls. Professor X doing a great job getting that R off. Cherry trying to buy enough space, but I don't think you have the team to back you up. Professor X picks up that double kill, and that is a great swing there for NLE, and I think there could be a purple slug on the horizon too.
Baron, just do it, or break open mid tier 2 and go do it. Open up that map even more. They have plenty of time to do this, so I think the call here will be to actually
Drake.
get to tier 2 and then go down towards Drake. All right, well, I mean, I guess Cherry would have been up by the time Baron, or they got to the Baron anyways. So I guess this call is fine. The only thing is TP is still available for alternative if they want to decide to reset. I don't think they do. Oh, they're setting a
Four
trap.
members are doing a death brush here as they find Peels, but I think even though that is a nice max range stun Peels,
Wow.
even though you are the unstoppable rock, you are falling this time, as that is just going to basically guarantee that this Hextech Drake goes over to the side of NLE here.
Honestly, great little play from NLE there. Not only, winning the fight in mid, securing the tier 2, also picking off the Malphite as well.
Wait a
we see-
minute.
We see
like
the
this.
Baron.
Oh, but it
Yeah,
gets
started.
stuck
Ah.
on the side.
All
Oh, man.
right. What I was wanted to swing back to is I think it's okay to not take Baron if you are NLE. You do have the scaling factor on your side, right? So picking up these stacking Drakes, I think, is always good for NLE. Baron's always going to be there, right? Contingent is not in a position to force or rush a Baron, and so taking the easier objective, not swinging the gold lead back to Contingent potentially, really good call.
Getting the pick there also really helped as well. It's about it's going to be 4,500 gold here in a second as Emery's is spotted here. I don't think there's much they can do off that. I saw a couple of mistakes from earlier where it was like a team member was alone, but it's like, psych, my whole team's there, and then they ended up losing a fight really badly. But I think the smarter call here from Contingent is to recognize that there is a chance that Wukong could not be alone. Make the safer bet, let them clear out some of this vision, try to reclaim some of that vision as well. Because obviously the next big objective is the Baron. There's going to be no Drake Soul for the next 10 minutes, so we're in for a long game if somehow that ends up happening. But it looks like the call here is Cherry is gonna invade. Might get
Cherry
spotted here. Is gonna get spotted
Is
here.
spotted. I think she
100%.
is in a bad spot. She doesn't have that empowered form to get over walls, and it didn't even matter. As Fury picks up the first kill for
I think he can do
himself
it.
here in this game.
I think they could do it now. 34 seconds on the
Professor Hex
jungler.
might be getting cut
Unless
out.
Oh, the Q does land on Professor X, and we're going to see if the Zenith Blade, but the
Ultimate.
ultimate, the Solar Flare, making sure Professor X
Oh my
has
God, he
nowhere to
can't
go.
move.
As the aggressive E, that's a late flash there, but Emery's trying to make up some
Only got
lost
the
ground
Malphite.
here. As the first hit of
Yeah.
Cyclone only lands on
Emery's
one.
gotta be
But
careful.
without that flash, we almost get
Oh!
land. Shockwave able to get onto Emery's. Emery's falls as we see four
Jinx
members
is
of Contingent
untouched.
Orange, but Bongo is doing a lot of damage. He's untouched here, but right now it looks like there are four members
Oh,
of Contingent
Baywa's so
Orange, and it's not enough.
strong.
Bongo is so
Oh.
close, but it's not enough. That's a shutdown over to Baywa. This game has gotten so much closer. These fights are going back and forth here, as
Oh,
it
gonna
looks
start
like it's
it up.
actually going to be a Baron over to the side of Contingent Orange, especially
no,
if Cherry
Fury
gets
didn't
here.
see him.
Oh,
Cherry
gets the
Cherry
kill as
falls. And the
Okay.
E is not enough, as this looks like, even though the members of Contingent Orange are low, with Cherry here, the alternative shields, I think this is really, really bad for NLE, as it looks like the Baron, the Slug, is going over to Orange.
Oh my
ball game,
goodness.
folks.
Oh, we definitely have a ball game. All 5 members wearing the purple buff as they will go ahead and go on this Baron power play. The gold is most likely going to be even by the end of this, if not in favor of Contingents. There is quite a bit of standing gold on the map for them. But my, oh my, I legitimately thought that there was a moment, because Bongo was untouched, that it could potentially go in favor. But the whole play starts with Professor Hex getting caught out. That's what started, and it felt like NLE had to respond. But man, Baywa putting out all of this damage, taking out Bongo, also taking out Emery's as well. Peel's playing the fight very, very well and doing the Malphite thing, as I will call it. This gives Contingents a chance to wow.
That's a lot of
plays.
damage.
Bongo is looking a little dead here. I mean, hey, we haven't talked about it enough in this game, but Baywa has so much more of an impact. He has so much more gold than Bongo, right? If Jinx gets hit, but now it doesn't matter. Unstoppable force on Professor Hex. Kane is trying to get a little bit of repeal on the backside.
Heels could solo.
He is just getting absolutely walloped, because that's just basically a solo kill. Emery's just trying to buy space, trying to kill the Rock, but Fury, he's in the area. I don't think it's going to matter, though, as I don't think that Gnarl is going to be enough. As the Jinx rocket comes out, you aren't lethality, you aren't doing that much damage, and unless Bongo gets that is a great engage there from Cherry. They're able to find Jinx, and I think this could be curtains, especially with that shockwave. It lands on the Emery's. Emery's is having to back off. It looks like Kane's trying to climb, but it's not enough. Cherry is alive. Cherry is thriving, and the Gnar is gone. It's just Emery's left. The Ignite Savior. Is he going to be able to do it? Probably not, but he doesn't even get Baywa. The shield is enough, and now we are going to Game 3 with Contingent Orange up 2-0.
Wow. Wow. I mean, I want to rewind back to where it all went wrong. We all can pinpoint it, right? Professor Hex getting caught, big issue, I will say. Bigger issue is we saw the return of Game 1 Emery's was doing so much good on the Wukong, tried to save the play, over-aggressed, led to a death, led to compounding losses. Baron and end. Contingent Orange did not mess around. They got that purple worm, and they said, Game 2 is ours. Holy cow, what a game. Crazy.
I really wish that I could see. Where's the gold graph right now? I need to see the gold graph because, good God, because NLE was ahead for a lot of that game, and then like we said, just Professor Hex getting caught leads into them getting aced, and then it leads into a Baron going over, and then the game ends with that Baron. That's an absolute blow to the mental, I have to say. If it was me, I'd be tilted out of my mind, because now it's kind of a mental game. They have to lock in for these next few games, because this will be reverse sweep. Also, it looks like the NLE is going to go on red side this time, which I think is great. That gives them the counter pick as well on R5, and I think that's what they need right now. But goodness! What a game, lads! What a game!
Well, yep, we saw it, but Emery's and the side of NLE Legionnaires, they are trying to switch it up. They're trying to give the counter picks over to their solo laners, right? We saw Alternative got it last time, but now we want to see what Fury can do. Oh my gosh, what's the mid laner? Professor Hex, what can he do with these counter picks? Yeah. I mean, we talked about it. That game was back and forth, right? That Wukong, the Ignite tech, we were doubting it. That guy was picking up those early kills, but I just think they got a little overconfident, right? There is still just so much power. The Wombo combo, I keep saying it all the time, but it keeps popping up in Contingent Orange's drafts, right? The Orianna, the Malphite, the Leona, that's so much damage, and it's hard to miss, too. I think it's just they got a little overzealous over on the side of NLE, and I think Contingent Orange were just able to pick up after the crumbs.
Yeah, and it's just those little mistakes that Contingent just runs away with, right? Game 1, it was all about the Wukong finding the picks, killing Alternative on repeat, just getting this massive gold lead for themselves, and then one mistake leads to the game. It just feels so unfair, but that's League of Legends, right? Game 1, we saw some ill-advised tower dives in mid. Orianna able to run away with that game, and so it's just like these little slip-ups that are kind of undoing NLE. If your back is against the wall, you got to make sure you're playing these games cleanly.
I definitely agree with you, and honestly, I 100% think that we should go ahead and take a short break. Once again, Badger doing all the yapping. I think you're in for a wild Game 3, so don't go anywhere as we take a quick break before Game 3.
And we'll have to see.
wants it.
Hello. Hello. I guess we're supposed to be any one of us, but hi. As you can see, our brains are fried after the past couple of games, but welcome back to LXC. This is the Warden Grand Finals. We're getting NLE on the red side this game, so potential counter pick coming in for either the mid or top lane. Contingent is going to be taking blue side, so we'll see if their blue side is as strong as the red side has been these past two games. Spoiler alert, red side's broken this patch, but from here, just gonna go ahead and see what they decide to do from there. As we're getting ready for draft, gentlemen. How are we feeling?
I mean, I'm feeling good. I also want to echo kind of off what you said. I think red side is kind of the move right now, right? I know everybody's like, oh, there's prio picks with like these 80 carries jungles. I think it isn't as bad as it has been in the past, right? Jhin and Jinx are still B1able, but I think right now there are so many good counter picks in the game with a lot of what like these mid laners, top laners are wanting to pick. I think if you're red side, you're happy to take these counter picks. And I think I want to see Fury on something that can give him a chance to get involved in this game, right? He played Aatrox into Yone game 1. That matchup sucks. He played Nara in Malphite. Matchup might even be worse. I think I just want to see him with a little bit more agency in this game. Give him something that he can go crazy on because at the end of the day, he is the diamond player of this team, but I think I want to see him beat the other diamond player, right? I want to see if this is what they need to get back into the series.
Some stats for you. When I was telling you that NLE was the red side team, 75%, 6-2. What I failed to mention was that Contingent's the blue side team. They're actually 7-1 in LXC play, 87.5% win rate. So for NLE, you do get the side that you have excelled at, but you're also giving the side to Contingent. So it'll be interesting to see. We talked about, some of these priority bans. We already saw NLE had to ban Ashe on the blue side, right? I'm expecting another AD carry, potentially 3. So it kind of, limits the draft a little bit. There's some truth to that. Right into this.
They didn't give us a warning, but we're already here. As we see Poppy, the return from Contingent Orange, right? They want the Jarvan. They're like, please give us Jarvan. It did so good game 1. We'll first pick it, I swear, but I think it's still going to be banned here for NLE. We're going to have to see, though, as what do you guys think are probably going to be the same bans as Ashe comes out?
I mean, Ashe is gonna be, and I expect with the Poppy ban, NLE is gonna have to ban the Jarvan, and we see the power of blue side, right? There's so much potential for that B1. You kind of have to cover all your bases. It makes it really hard.
Kind of cooking in my head. I'm curious to see what Contingent decide to first pick here. They might even first pick the Jinx for themselves. I don't know, but in terms of the bans, I imagine they'll stay mostly the same, so I'm not really going to focus on that. But NLE here is on the back foot. They are down 0-2 in this series, in the grand finals. This is the game to turn it around because you can really get into your opponent's head if you take off this first game. It's like, well, all right, that forces us to have to play better. But then you outbetter their better, and then all of a sudden, 2-2. And from there, you can really get into your opponent's head. So this is the game to do that. This is NLE's chance as they ban away the Jarvan. So that's going to stay consistently off the table. I think, like you said, okay, I could see that. But I think, like you were saying with the Poppy ban, that they're giving it away that they want the Jarvan to kind of give that ban up. But Contingent is going to swap to the Gwen.
There's no way. There's no way it's
going
Gwen.
to stay Wukong.
I think it's probably just going to end up being Wukong. Lucian! That's NLE's ban. That's not what your ban is.
No,
it's just going to be Seraphine.
Okay, they leave the Wukong up. They hovered Lucian because they know NLE has to ban it. Bewa on the Lucian has looked, just incredible. We've kind of followed Contingent. They've been streamed all the way up to this point. He's never had a poor game on the Lucian. So I'm expecting that to be the third ban, but maybe they call the bluff and say you won't B1 Lucian. You'll B1 something else. So the Ezreal is going to be locked in for this final ban.
I think they're just first picking Lucian off of that. I've seen Bewa do absolute monster damage here. I know that the Ezreal's gone, but I think Lucian's coming out here. That's my guess.
Yeah. Okay. I vibe with it. I vibe with that as well. We could also see maybe a jungle pick here as well. There's lots of things that Ninja could play that are still open. We could see the Vi. We could see maybe the Nocturne, which would be a wild first pick, but they will go ahead and stick with the Jinx. So already, they'll go ahead and lock in the Jinx first pick. Now, the Ezreal is banned away, so that can't be the response. I say that in quotes. but there are still lots of other things that could be played into the Jinx. If they're maybe comfortable on something like Kaisa, I think that is an option. Maybe Zeri, that's a one's a bit of a stretch, but Zeri possibly. NLE have stuff that they could do here with what they'd like to do on with R1 and R2. There's just a lot of options. Oh, Hui.
Okay.
Someone we didn't even talk about, right? Hui is a pretty versatile champ. I know it is still being played a little bit AD carry, but it's usually seen mid. It does still open up the opportunity for a flex pick. I think red side also benefits a lot from flex picks a little bit more than blue. That could be a hot take, but I think Hui is really good, especially on the patch where he's gotten some buffs, especially to support. Just it's a little extra like quality of life buff, but I think it's a strong pick as we're gonna see what the pairing is gonna be with it here on R2, as it's Mr. Oron, the Peel's special, taken away from him.
I'm just gonna say slap Camille here because Camille into Ornn is miserable for Ornn. So if Peels is, we've seen Peels on Yone, we've seen Peels on Malphite. I think you just slap the Camille here. I'm just saying that would be absolutely huge pick. Now going back to what you mentioned about the flex pick, Wei can be played in 3 places right now: AD carry, bot lane, and support with the shield buffs that just came in. Lulu also got buffed this patch as well. Her passive got buffed, which inadvertently also buffed her E. So that's actually a really interesting pick and something that can absolutely just say full send it for this Jinx. And are they gonna BM here and take the Wukong?
No
way.
way.
I expect a Yone ban, right? Yone is such a powerful flex. It could go so well into the Ornn. Did I say ban? I meant pick.
I think
Yone
you pick it.
here. Yeah.
I think I've seen Peels. Sorry to cut you off. I think I've seen Peels actually pick Yone into Ornn. That's his go-to pick. But we're actually seeing the Cherry Belveth is coming right back. She said, "Hey, I did good on a game too. We're bringing it back to try to close out the series."
Yeah, and they're gonna have to show the Hui flex. Maybe they save it till the R5 pick. I don't think it'll be support. I think it's probably mid. And if that's the case, if you're blinding both your solo lanes, the Belveth gets really scary with the potential for counters in both solo lanes. You just let Jinx Lulu scale on the bot side, and then just wreak havoc on the top, right? So we'll have to see what comes to fruition. Is Janna?
Might be Hui Janna. Okay,
Could
that I've noticed is a pretty decent pairing. The shielding is really obnoxious. At the same time, I'm not a fan of Hui in the bottom lane because it kind of stalls that obnoxious scaling that we know Hui can do in a solo lane. So, but I mean, if NLE is comfortable on it, then that's fine as well. From here, I imagine we'll see the same 2 top lane bans that we've seen the whole game. Rumble, Gragas. Now, Contingent, they have lots of things that they could do here. They
Jungle
have.
pinch.
Yeah, see, I think you just pinch the jungle here. Well, I mean, what's left open? I mean, Wukong's open, Diego's open. There's just so much that they could do here if they wanted to.
I think just anything to shut down. I also, for the side of NLE, I kind of still want to see a Yone ban. To be honest, I think it's still one of Peels' favorite picks into it. He could technically get away with picking it on that bleed B4. I guess B4, B5 are the same. But we're seeing Jax actually come out on the side of Contingent Orange, right? They're trying to. I guess I expect Emery's to play Jax in the jungle.
Yeah.
I think it has a lot of value with the Janna, with the Hui shielding, but
the counter strike makes Belveth really hard to do damage when you're an auto-based champion. So good ban. As we see, I expected the Yone Rumble is also really good. So, but still lots of options, right? You talked about the Camille, Fiora might be even on the table. So many different things. Aatrox, Mordekaiser. The pool is kind of limitless for Contingent on top side. As we expect to see another jungle ban, and it's going to be the Wukong Hubbard, and probably locked in as well.
Well, they're chirping in Twitch chat right now instead of being in their game. So they're just kind of, memeing with like what they're going. They will go ahead and ban the Wukong after all, which we saw Emery's do really well with it in the previous game. The Corki, which has fallen kind of out of favor as recently. I find it interesting if we do go ahead and lock it in. I'm not really a fan of the pick per se because Corki got nerfed recently and the item changes and he can't do what he used to do to towers anymore. I guess, but no, I could be proven wrong. We were proven wrong about the Ignite Wukong, so maybe Professor Hex has something cooking up as Contingent have options here of what they can go ahead and do. They obviously have to pick their mid and top. I think in this instance, we take it back old school. Let's lock in Azir, or we're locking in Cassante.
Well, they're actually locking in new school as... I also want to, sorry, I'm going to let you, Righteous, I'm going to let you go. But first, I just want to say, you're probably going to say the same thing. I'm surprised they picked Corki on R4. That just immediately shows, hey, Hui's gonna go bot lane now. Right? There's no point. The flex is dead at this point. It's just gonna be a top laner on R5. I think he ruined a lot of the strength of that Hui pick early.
Dare I say, I think it's actually going to be Corky bot with Hui mid.
That's possible. It
Holy-
is. That is indeed possible.
I think it's going to be Corky bot just because if you look on the other side, Jinx Lulu offers kind of no kill threat into a Corky Janna. You just let it sit there and scale alongside. Maybe open up the mid lane possibilities. We see Lissandra going to be the last pick for Contingent Orange, and so lots of CC, lots of lockdown from the top side of the map there for Contingent. So it'll be interesting to see NLE going to round out their comp with a last pick jungler. You don't see that very often anymore, but will be interesting to see what they do there.
Hey, Emery's giveth and he taketh, and I think he's gonna let the voices talk to him as he chooses to go Kane as the last pick here on a do or die match. I mean, I'm really surprised to see this pick.
You either have to get ahead and win, or you just kind of lose. Kane's one of those weird champions that's like feast or famine. Now, Red Kane isn't as broken as it used to be, but it's still pretty obnoxious, and I would imagine we go Red Kane this game. But I think this whole game is going to be very contingent on, no pun intended, on how well this bottom lane does, depending on wherever this Corki and this Hui are going. I'm actually kind of shocked that they're in this position right now. Like you're down 0-2. I don't know if like this is entire comfort for them. So we're kind of just waiting to see what goes on from there. And I really like Contingent's comp more, obviously, but the Legionnaires got to pull something out of their butt to win this game.
NLE's comp just doesn't really make sense to me. You have scaling across the board. You have scaling in the Ornn, scaling on the Hui, scaling on the Corki, and then you lock Kane. I mean, what's the champ's gonna do? I mean, he wants to fight. He wants to be able to get those orbs to eventually go whichever form he chooses, but he's not gonna have a lot of backup or a lot of lane pressure in any of these lanes. So it will be interesting to see how Emery's pilots the early game. Now, granted, I was a Wukong Ignite hater, and he made that look really good up until the end. So maybe he knows something that I don't. But I think NLE's draft, once you get to like 30, 35 minutes, will be really good. Will be kind of scary. But can you get there? It's for them, it's a marathon. For Contingent, it's a little bit of a sprint, but it still has some scaling in the Jinx as well. So I don't know.
I mean, I think the real only mystery at this point in the draft is the Corki gonna go bot? I mean, that's kind of like, I think if Corki bot is kind of really bad still. I just think the nerfs, especially, like, he still survives mid lane because he's in that isolated lane, but sitting in bot lane, when he's had all these nerfs put on his head, I just think he's kind of a stinker. And, like, I don't know, man. I just think the draft dip is kind of insane. I know I'm not supposed to have too much bias, but, like, holy moly, man.
I mean, it's hard not to, right? I mean, because it's just it doesn't make sense, right? NLE picks scaling across the board, rounds it off with a Kane. Now, granted, there is a world where you go Hell of Blades Corki bot, you go lethality, and you just try to win hard on the bot side with the Kane presence. Maybe
It's Corki mid.
Corki mid.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, they could swap. We'll see, but dude, if it's Corki mid, Lissandra Velveth is so scary, right? The point and click CC, Corki, the calling card is you have the Valkyrie to get out of bad situations. You can't really do that if the CC comes through anyways with that point and click. So I don't know.
Production just told us when they lock it in, that's where it's going. So there will be no swapping.
oh my goodness. But we see, actually, someone, never mind. I won't talk about that. But still, I think there's just so much. The 2v2 threat of a Belveth Lissandra onto a Corki is so crazy, right? Like, this Lissandra is going to enable her hyper carries, this Belveth, this Jinx, to get it absolutely done. Lissandra's just going to choose a target and say, you don't get to play the game. And I think, you know what that does? That gives Jinx the easy opportunity to get excited and run away with that fight. I mean, we're going to have to see. Maybe NLE pulls out something that I don't know. We saw Emery's do some wacky stuff. I honestly think I could bet that Ignite's coming back out for a Kane.
I agree.
I think it's coming back out. I think it honestly got a lot of value. But we're going to have to see. Is NLE going to be able to pull this off? I don't know.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But as we're going to go ahead and go into spec delay, it is now time. Does the reverse sweep begin here on this game, or are we going home early tonight? Don't go anywhere, as we will be back for game 3. We'll see you on the Rift.
You know I don't play right. Just give me the word. You know I don't play right. Don't give me this. I'm gonna get back when I feel like. You know I don't play right. I'll put up a good fight. Just give me the word. You know I don't play right. You know I don't play right. Don't give me this. I'm gonna get back when I feel like. Don't give me this. You know I don't play right. I'll put up a good fight. Just give me the word. You know I don't play right. You know I don't play right. Don't give me this. I'm gonna get back when I feel like.
welcome back, League of Legends gamers. It is the potential final game of the night as we are now onto the Rift, where we have this time Contingent on the blue side and NLE on the red side. Once again, going with that classic little 5-man strat, trying to see if they can find anything cheesy. And gotta
Warden's gotta be
say,
careful here.
Wait a minute, Bongo, you gotta be careful, man. We gotta
Oh.
see. He does get spotted here, but he actually went Q first. And with that carpet, but Cherry actually going really aggressive here, trying to find it. But
Just
without
get
those
that
dashes
vision.
up, Bongo's able to get away this time.
going for the invade here. Oh, actually,
Okay.
they do get the ward. Kind of threatening there that they could be potentially invading. That is my favorite emote in the whole game, I will casually add.
Super
And this does mean it won't be, I think it will be a trade division. Yeah. Emery's does
Weeper
have a super
diff.
as
Wait a
well.
minute. Wait,
Nice.
guys, you can take it. All right,
Guys,
perfect.
No,
Okay.
no, no, no.
Guys,
So the XP from the vision is actually better on just Hex and Emery's alone, right? They didn't want to share it. Corky's actually going to be able to hit level 2 a little bit quicker than an alternative on Lysandra. Just a little bit of a little I guess I don't know, strategy there. It was good to see.
Okay.
As the E is getting dodged. Oh, actually, Q. Faker. Wait a minute. Well, there actually is. It doesn't hit, but just some aggressive trading here mid, but nothing probably is going to come of it.
So there is a lot of scaling, obviously, on the side of NLE. They have a little bit of extra scaling because of the Ornn items that they'll get later into the game. So if this game does go late enough, I do believe that NLE could take this game. But on paper and based off what I've seen so far tonight, there is a chance that NLE could get ahead. But if Baywa is ahead like they were in the previous game and is untouched in a fight, especially on this Jinx, they could potentially just turn an entire fight around and take over the game. Now, we did not really get too much of this, but it looks like the Cherry has decided to invade the entirety of the bottom side of the map. I do believe Kane started Wolves, but went ahead and went up to that Grom. Does Kane have blue buff? No, so this is going to be his first buff. Okay, interesting.
So this is the first buff. I don't also think that they realize that they have gone for this cross map play. I don't know if Emery's is going to have to walk down because Cherry has both her top and bot side up for her, even though the
would
Raptors
actually-
got taken.
Actually backed. Gonna try to meet this Kane at her blue.
Oh, but
Kane
knows,
should
though.
know something's up though because the blue was watered.
Emery's
the
actually
Emery's
going on
coming
the
in.
aggressive here as he's going to go in with the E, but we see the flash come out from Peels. The W does land, but I don't think Kane has enough damage. He's just trying to stack some orbs, get some cheddar under his belt. But right now, he's going to have to go back, and he kind of has nothing to go back to right now. As Emery's just kind of going like, hey, he's doing like the thing where he's looking around. He's like, what do I do?
Yeah, so doesn't know that this blue side was taken yet. Is going down mid lane though. It looks like is going to potentially make a playoff there. Could go through.
Oh, we see the
wall.
aggressive E. Alternative. I don't think you realize Emery was in the angle, man. Alternative forced to flash. A W lands again. That looks like deja vu from the top lane.
And-
I missed it, but then we get the first blood coming over to Baywa. They're able to pick up Kane there.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. Both summoners used out of the supports. Maybe it's just a case of they didn't respect the PTA damage coming through from the Jinx, and so.
Oh,
able
actually,
to get
we
first
see the
blood.
fear lands onto Baywa. Baywa is rooted up, but the polymorph to stop it, giving Baywa enough
Nice.
time to flash out here.
Oh,
The W, it
rude.
doesn't hit.
Traps.
Great use of the traps there. The W, it misses though, and it looks like actually cutting over to mid. We see there's a two-man gank. Professor Hex, he doesn't have to burn flash, but he gets the blast code to get out of here. Kane looks like he's gonna find Cherry. It's a little scary, but that W is gonna make it so they're able to get out and. There's a lot of action, but nothing to call for it here. As actually, Professor Hefty W's in! What
No
are you
way.
doing, man? Alternative is able to get the kill. I think he underestimated the damage. We're now cutting down to bot side. We see Cherry finds the aggressive pick, actually just landing the W onto Emery's. I don't even think she realized it. But we see the flash in from Emery's trying to get something
wants
here.
those
He's
orbs.
polymorphed. It's not enough. Cherry is so strong. Velvet does so much damage
Nah.
early. Baywa gets the exciting. It's a double. Oh no, is it going to be a triple? It is. And now cutting up top.
Fury!
I think Beals is getting a kill. What is going on? That is, I think, an ace. That's just basically an unofficial ace for the side of Contingent Orange. This is a disaster.
All right. Well, you guys are witnessing history. Not because of anything in this game, but Otani, the first 50-50 player in the majors. This game just feels so doomed from NLE. Professor Hex probably wins that 1v1, by the way, if he takes any other rune except for the nerf fleet footwork.
Oh,
Actually,
and
yeah.
I just realized, so Not only did Jinx get a triple kill at the end of that whole play, it is now more than half of the way towards Collector first. This is going to be one strong ADC, and we were saying if Baywa is ahead, this game is pretty much over, and they're now 3,000 gold up.
5 minutes in the game,
Oh.
mind you.
wait, oh no.
They're just
It's
so strong.
It's you know, you want to try to not have too much bias here as casters, right? But just looking at this game, it's already been a bit of a slobber knocker, right? And it's not in the good side for NLE, as Professor X is trying to get some aggressive
Level
trading here from
6.
E. As he's not kiting, he doesn't care. He's just gonna sit there and auto. But Alternative already hit 6. They gotta be a little cautious here as we see some aggressive trading up top too, as he actually lands the Q. I expected the all out to come out, but not this time. As Emery's just trying to make up for some lost time, gonna hopefully get these grubs.
I have a question for you guys. We saw Bongo was a little bit tilted in the LXC Twitch chat. Do you think Baywa first picked the Jinx specifically just to build the lethality build for a little bit of mental edge?
Yes.
I think that is mental diff to the extent. I don't think I would have thought enough ahead to think about that, but if Baywa did that, this guy is my new favorite player. But anywho, I do think it is pretty strong, especially into a comp that really only has an Oron to be that tanky member. But anywho, Cherry is in the jungle once again. Emery's is going to try to counter jungle, but guess what? There's absolutely nothing there, man. Emery's, I feel for you. You don't have much to go with right now.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Cherry being like a Belveth, I wouldn't say main, but definitely one of her favorite champions. Doesn't really put any prio on the early grubs for that form. We've seen both games now that it's been picked, that it's actually NLE picking up the early grubs. Just kind of an interesting wrinkle that Cherry throws in.
Definitely. We've been looking at this top side for a hot second. Earlier, PLs did end up getting a solo kill during that little bit of a delayed ace that happened earlier. And on their
Ornn is calling in the Ram Horn. Emery's is in the area, but Cassante is unstoppable.
oh,
It's basically
no.
what is immune, but actually, we see all out come
There
out.
it
Cassante, is he going to be able to Cassante on him? Here, buying enough space, and I think if they stall out this all out, it's a little tough, but both members are kind of in a weird spot, but Cassante is actually Cassanteing on him, and they take up Fury, and now Peels, I think he wants he lands the Q knockup, but actually bot side, I didn't even see it. Jinx picks up a kill onto Jinx, but I still want to see it as they get the double kill. Oh, dude, this is a slaughter.
Oh my god. Oh no, that's a 3-0 Cassante. Alright, someone in chat post the copy pasta. We just watched the dude 2v1 with no items except his gene. Oh, that champion is so broke.
Look, man, I don't want to say anything bad. I think this could just be NLE is kind of done because look at the bot tower, man.
Dude.
Look how low it is already. They're going to break it basically before 9 minutes at this point. And now I cut over to mid lane. The Kayn is here to get Professor X a little bit of a shield. And actually, they're chunking him low. Is the perfect game going to be over? No, it's not.
Well, it
Level
can't be
turn to be
perfect,
tough.
right? They got through grubs.
Oh, never mind. At least KDA wise.
Yeah,
At least
yeah,
KDA
yeah.
wise. But you're right.
So, I want to try to be positive here. And the good thing about NLE getting beat so hard so early is that they have lots of objective battles.
W wins and the polymorph comes out. Emery's, he does have ultimate. He's waiting a little bit, but we see the ultimate goes out. But oh, man, it's not up as Baywa gets excited, and I think that's another plate they're gonna pick up as they're pinging it. But look how far back Bongo and Kayn are.
Families! Hoi can't even walk up to the lane. He's 40 CS down at 9 minutes.
Oh god, it's getting a little out of control at this point. I don't know what else to say.
Cassante has his gauntlet already. By the way, the first tower is gone before 10 minutes, but we see the Valkyrie in.
Okay.
Alternative might fall as the auto. It's enough, and we see a kill is picked up for the side of Professor Hex. This is what NLE needs to get back into this game.
That was my mid laner, I'd be pinging them right now. I'd be like, bro, what are you doing dying there? That's a 6,000 gold lead also, by the way. Now, it was a little bit of zestiness from Alternative, thinking that they could win the fight there. It does now have the lost chapter. Also, saw first tower going over. Jinx has finished the Collector. Oh, man, that's another Dirk in the kit. I think you were completely right, and this is 100% for mental edges.
Oh,
Kayn.
no. Peels is kind of... You think he's in a bad spot, but the fact that there's already a 5k gold lead at 10 minutes, I think he's in a pretty decent spot as he's 2 levels up on this Ornn, forced to call out the Ram, but he's in the area.
Okay.
He lands it onto Peels, but they're doing a lot of damage. Baywa gets
the collector!
Already with the collector diff.
The
Cherry picks up the
collector!
kill. They have all 5 members here. Emery's is in the back. He's doing some undercover action here. Alternative lands the root onto Kane. I don't think you're getting out of this one, man, especially with the rocket. It's going to get Jinx super excited. And bingo, bango, bongo. I think this person is dropping. The ultimate's not enough. Cherry's able to pick up a double kill. And this is a disaster. Actually, Emery's is showing back up. The flash, he gets a shutdown on the Jinx. Is it gonna be enough? No, it's not. As we see, Cherry lands the double.
Okay, Badger, props to you for making this entertaining because it really is a one-sided stomp right now. Jinx actually goes down. They're saying that Jinx is a dirty inter. Maybe if he didn't go the lethality build, he would have lived. No, I'm just kidding.
Maybe if she got 9 kills instead of 8, it was a chance. But still, you know, this game, it could be curtains. But we see that doesn't care. Professor X, he's got a Valkyrie in. But you see alternative a little bit safer there. I don't think it's going to be enough.
Now, I will say there's a danger of playing fast and loose if you are blue side. This is a game where we've seen it in solo queue. You get so far ahead, you think it's an easy win, and then all of a sudden you end up losing the game off of one bad team fight. So gotta kind of stay focused despite the silly nature of it. And finish it out cleanly.
We see the ultimate, the Glacial Prison come out from Lysandra, and oh my god, that champion got popped. Like, but hey, I didn't say it yet, but guess what? Emery's is online with blue form, and I think Baywa, you gotta be careful,
dead.
man. You're still an 80 carry at the end of the day. The 2-man. Is it gonna be enough? Is Baywa gonna have enough space? He's buying time for her team. Lysandra's here, Cherry's here, and Emery's. You gotta rock.
Going the wrong way.
Actually, goes through the wall, but oh my god, the rocket there. And Baywa said, actually, that was all according to plan.
So what's actually really funny about what you were saying before this plays? Oh no, does Baywood die again? Wait a minute.
No! Professor Hex goes in with the W. Is it going to be enough? But we see another TP come up, this time from Keels. But then we see Cherry is on a rampage. Professor Hex, you got to run, buddy. Get out of there. I don't think it's going to be enough as we see this top lane tower. They're getting all the plates in the world, man. Professor Hex is trying to fight. He's trying to find an angle. But with 4 people topside, you're not getting any of this farm, man.
So let's try this again. Right before that fight started, before we came into this game, our production literally said the only way that Contingent lose this game is if they get too far ahead and get a little hypey. There are a couple moments where they've gotten a little hypey. So it is doable for NLE. It's just going to be a very hard hill to climb.
It's a 10K gold lead.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
I know we're being optimistic. It's a 10K gold lead at 12 minutes. They've almost gained 1,000 gold a minute at this point in the game.
How are the bounties not active?
Emery's just hit the GG in all chat. Not because he's in the lead. I think he got the red steal.
Hey, if I'm a jungler, I'm mental diffing my team, right? I'm hitting him with question marks. I'm letting him know. Oh, this is a bit of a slaughter. As Kane lands a tornado. Not going to be enough, though. Not enough damage in the tank. I think if Kane wanted to, there was an angle. But still, we see the E land on the base. It's not going to be enough.
That is a 2-item Jinx, by the way. Well, it is a lethality build, but it's still 2 items on this Jinx 13 minutes into this game. I do believe if that IE is coming up next, this Jinx is going to be pumping out damage absolutely obnoxiously.
Let's check in how much gold she is ahead. She is almost 5,000 gold ahead, in case anyone was wondering. If you look to your left, you also see that the jungle matchup is 800 gold ahead, and the top lane also is 1,600 gold. That rocket almost one shot.
That's a lot of damage. It's not enough yet, but he's just saying, hey, you don't get the lane, man. I'm just going to have this on lock. It's going to keep coming up. And Baywa is in a really good spot. You have a Lulu buffing you up to, giving you that attack speed you don't get from your items. And I think it's a little tough, man. But now we see Emery's trying to get that scuttle. He's like, give me an option. Oh, wait a minute. Sidestep. Gets the smite. This is what we want to see. Emery's having to run for his life, though. Gets the W to get out of this one. And throws up the thumbs up, letting him know. Mental diff at this point.
All you can do is hang your hat on good mental if you are NLE. Just have some fun. You know, I won't say the game is over, but the game is kind of over, guys.
I mean,
I-
what can you do? I mean, this Casante's going to get obnoxious. You really don't have any solid 80 damage on the team right now because Corki is so far behind, along with Kane, who's also behind, but that's more of the one-shot I'm going to blow you up build. We are 14 and a half minutes into the game. We're finally cresting over into the mid-game. Objective bounties have just activated.
He's really excited. Hey, I mean, honestly, if you're in LE at this point, you got to start looking ahead. You got to start looking at game 4 because I don't think this one's winnable from this point.
It's
Oh,
2-0
wait, what?
right now.
Oh. Well, you know, there's sometimes you just gotta, well, I mean, I've seen crazier.
Yeah, this would be a crazy comeback. I would say if Contingent ended up losing this game, could be the start of the reverse sweep, because that would be a tilter.
100% agree. And you know what's a tilter is
Okay,
getting the
that's BM.
unstoppable put on your face as Peels able to pick up a kill. Peels is the MVP. He is the crowd favorite. Emery's is here though. He goes in shadow stepping mode as he's gonna try to do damage to Cherry. Actually, he did the drive-by. Oh, wait a minute, that was kind of nasty. Actually, he flashes on. Gets the arc, but he does no damage.
Negative damage.
Actually, he's doing negative damage, but the E lands. It's not enough. How broken?
Oh, the ult goes
How
wide.
broken is that? Take damage.
Oh,
There's
he's
no
gonna get
damage.
chased.
Wait, Corky died. Where did Corky
He
die?
wants
Emery's,
this.
He wants this kill so bad,
Oh,
but Cherry's also here. The
no.
W lands, and it's not enough as Cherry picks it up. Peels is the MVP. Peels is the savior. But right now, oh
rockets.
my god.
Oh my lordy, it's just an absolute slaughter. I mildly disagree with breaking open the inhibitor right now, especially this early. It guarantees 90 gold to whoever gets it for the next 5 minutes. But I mean, okay, they actually made the call to peel off, so thank you for that one. So they will just go ahead and rotate down to this bottom lane tier 2, take that tower off the map. Man, oh man, what else do we say at this point, gentlemen? I mean, it's 21-2. Alternative's caught out here.
Alternative actually has Cherry backing him up. Emery's trying to buy space. Is it going to be enough? I don't think Cherry, I think, gained health during that interaction. But still, Cherry is still on the move. Nothing happens this time.
What do you say? You say thank you and good night. Just turn off the stream. It's too ugly. This is a slaughter. Yeah, I don't know. Just have fun. I mean, it's the last game of this season. You can hang your hat on, getting second. Play for, a crazy comeback, but just kind of know, like, you did your best. Except for this game.
You did your
Other
best,
than that,
right?
you did your best.
Put on a show, right? We got a great audience here in the Twitch chat. I know they're enjoying, they're rooting for both teams, right? Emery's is putting on a show. I'll give him that, right? I think he's trying to go for the power spike, get into the 10 deaths. I think it's something that he can do. We're gonna see. As I think, honestly, that's what I want to see the channel prediction be, is Emery's going to be able to get to 10 deaths this game. Because I think it's possible here.
Oh man, 3 2s per second. We got a lot of banter going on in the all chat, but there's not really too much we can really say. We're waiting for the next objective. Will most likely be this next Drake. Baron's up in 2 minutes, but for between now and then, I mean, we have a 3-item Jinx with 2 lethality items. That's gonna hurt a lot. We got a 2-item Cassante.
You can try to buy space, but
Fury.
Cherry is just applying the damage. And
TP
even
coming
if you're
in.
Ornn, you think you're tanky. Actually,
so
we're seeing
dead.
a TP play in. The TP into Valkyrie away combo from
Alternative could be
Professor
huge
Hex.
here.
It's not no, but Peels is trying to get some Beowa. Is doing a lot of damage. Actually, the combo from Bog, it didn't matter. But still, Beowa is getting slowed down by the ultimate. It might be enough. We see she has the rockets. She's unleashed. Alternative. Actually, that's kind of nasty.
The rocket
He
could
lands the
follow.
root. He lands the ultimate. Oh, and he gets the double. He gets the triple. That was actually a clean way to end it out. Even if you are up 25 kills, I think you still have some style in the points. This might be up. Shelly, I don't know why she hit tower. Shelly, that's not where you're supposed to go, as I think this might be curtains. Was this game close? Absolutely not. Did both teams put on a show? I kind of think so. The members of Contingent Orange, they have worked hard. They have not lost a game in 2 weeks. They 3-0'd Akuma. It looks like they're going to 3-0 in Ali.
Wait,
and
no
even
dancing
if Bela
Shelly.
falls here, Kane is down. And this is the champions. This is your team to beat as Contingent Orange Warden finals.
3-0 at the end of the night. Righteous Snipe predicted it to 3-1, and I think in our hearts we knew we went 3-0, but my oh my, what an absolute mollywop of a game, dudes. That was just crazy. crazy. Let's check the damage. 22,000 damage on this Jinx, and my god, I'm just gonna flat out say it. It was not even close. Not even memeing. Not the donkey meme. No, it was legit not even close. And
Dude,
well,
that was just a whole team pulling a Dardock saying, "Let's just lose in peace." That's what it felt like, right? I mean, I'm not BMing. If that was the case, if you just want to go out and have some fun, more power to you. But I'd like to be a little bit more competitive in the game 3, the deciding game. But I mean, Contingent has just looked so good. I think the only team that gave them the strongest fight was all the way back in play-ins, if you could believe
Mhm.
that.
definitely. So we are going to get an interview with Contingent here in a moment. As mentioned, that they are the winners. If I had to give a player of the series, would honestly give it to Cherry or Baywa. The two of them were playing out of their minds most of this series. I feel like Alternative popped off in game 1, but then was just more of that like utility and like turning of fights for the carries. And I if I had to pick, I don't know, to be honest with you. There were so many
There's
good
no
players on
wrong
this
answer,
team.
I think.
It's fair.
For me, it's probably Peels. Did he only die like once throughout 3 games
Eels
or
could be the
twice?
GOAT. I'll double
Twice.
down and say I think Baywa kind of went crazy. I kind of don't count game 3. I kind of want to look at your performances in game 1 and game 2. And I think Baywa was the play, but it looks like we might be joined by Alternative, the star mid laner. Actually, I think we're maybe joined by all
Bringing the whole
We're
team
bringing
actually.
everybody
Contingent.
in.
We're seeing as they're trickling in. I want to say congrats to the people who've shown up so far. Congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah. Whoa. Whoa. Hold the heck on. We say congratulations, just thank you.
Thank
No, you
you.
guys just won Warden. Come on, get hype. You
Wait,
guys
I
just
didn't-
won
okay,
Warden.
I didn't-
World, you
Wait,
did it!
are we live? Because that's what I
You're
was saying.
alive.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
you are
live.
live.
Yeah. Okay. What's good? Yo.
Cherry, what do you want to say to the doubters? I know there have been a lot of
Um,
doubters in your way.
Skill issue L plus ratio. I don't know.
Can't argue
I don't
with
really
that.
care.
Couldn't have said it any better
Y'all
myself.
suck anyways. What the?
True.
My God, I love it. So, I'm gonna ask kind of a question to all of you, and this is just in general about the previous game. What were the comms like throughout that game? Because it got a little silly in various moments, but I want to know what was going on in the comms.
Game 3?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the like unofficial 4-minute ace, I think it already got a little silly after that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, my support didn't ult me.
Yeah, and I'm just saying my ADC had full vision of a Kayn and walks melee range into him, so it's just not my problem, is it?
True.
I think the entirety of comms for the 4 of us like yelling at each other and saying random shit, and Peel's just like trying to calm us all down.
Peels is
I think everybody in the chat was saying it. Peels seemed to be the rock of that team, right? He was getting it
Feels
done.
like
Peels,
a-
Peels.
is
I
all
know
of our
you
goods.
have the fans in the audience. What do you got to say to them, man? You put
Peels
on a
isn't
heck of a show
here.
tonight.
He
Peels is
not
not
in
in
here.
here.
Not
He's not here.
That was actually
He
the
did
person I
not-
wanted to talk to. Get him in here, bro.
He's
They're
the
good.
he's the
They're good.
silent
Peels-
winner.
Peels both asked not to be interviewed and asked me not to say a statement on his behalf. So I'm going to say a statement on my behalf. Earlier
About-
in the podcast, I called Peels my weak side kitten, and I'd love to say that Peels has graduated to my weak side cat. I'm so proud of you, Peels.
I have a question. It goes to Baywa on the bot side. Did you B1 Jinx just to go the lethality build because Bongo didn't in the previous game?
I'm not gonna say anything. I was reading chat a little. I was trying to
Okay.
understand.
I thought that might have been the case. That's crazy. Good on you.
Oh man.
I liked it. I really liked it. That was pretty funny. Yeah, so absolutely banger game from all of you. It was a really impressive series from start to finish. That game 2 comeback was insane, I will say. You guys popped off and pulled that game out of what seemed like a completely losable position. But once you guys caught out the Syndra, you immediately turned that into a Baron, turned that into breaking open their base, and then ended the game shortly after. And I have to say, that was an impressive comeback. I loved watching you guys play tonight. Do you fellas have any final thoughts before we end the show for the night?
Shout out to the team. All as their head coach, it's been so much fun watching these guys be so successful. Just really excited for that, and shout out Contingent Esports as well. So yeah, just really awesome. I mean, we did not drop a game in all the playoffs, and I think that really speaks to just the talent that our roster brought together this season.
I like it. I like it. Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Coach. Well, all right, Badger, Righteous. Got anything else before we call it a night?
No, I
Hey.
mean, thanks to everybody for a good LXC season. Game 3 is a little bit silly, but it's been fun casting these teams throughout the split, and just happy to see them play. Good on you for showing up, trying your best, and it's just been really fun.
It's been great. I feel like every time I've got to cast Warden, it's been this Contingent Orange roster. I know, guys, we didn't talk about the fact I might have predicted NLE. That was a bit. I promise. Congrats to you guys. It's been great seeing you guys perform, get better over the series, even just from a caster's perspective. It's awesome to see. You guys should be proud. Go back and celebrate, right? Maybe pop a couple brewskis. Who's to say? But
Yeah,
still,
you're
have a
still
good
on the
rest of your
endless
night, guys.
though. Don't doubt us.
What do you mean? What did I do? Why am I on the endless? Oh my god! Fine.
You predicted
We'll talk about-
NLE.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later. No, just kidding. That was a prank. I was doing it for content. Someone had to say NLE.
Oh, he was doing it for
Someone needed them in their
content.
corner.
See?
Oh, okay. So just like that, it's like that, huh? But all right, that'll do it for us. Twitch chat, thank you again, and congratulations to Contingent Orange for winning the series 3-0 against NLE Legionnaires. And that'll do it for us tonight. It was a fun night. It was a banger. All 3 games were fun to watch. And from here, we're gonna go ahead and call it. So come back. I believe there are games next week. Am I right? Am I wrong? So
Yep.
please. All right,
Yep,
so there
we're on
are
all the-
games next week, and I'm going to go ahead and promo myself. I'll be on Risen Esports this Sunday, so a little bit of a promo. We start up our dominant season coming up. Boys, are Righteous, Badger, y'all doing any other casting coming up?
Not that I bet you. I'm hoping to potentially be casting again next week. I've been just kind of sticking with LXC right now. It's my start, and I'm looking for future opportunities. Right, I'd love to be considered. But I've just enjoyed my time getting to start here, and honestly, also Freak, I wanted to say thank you so much. It's my first time doing a TriCast, and you were a great co-color with Righteous there.
It was a lot of fun. Thanks. It was a very last second thing I decided last weekend. I was like, you know what? Screw it. Let's do it just for funsies. But man, oh man, I got to say W suits to the both of you. Righteous, you got anything coming up soon?
Nah, I'm just here for a good time, man. I'll do whatever whenever there's a opportunity is available, but I just just love doing it. So really fun season, and so much
Animosity.
thanks for everybody.
That's what I'm the most scared of. Why would you say that? Anywho.
Just having a little fun of banter test. Have a good night, everybody. We'll be back next week for the next set of games. That'll do it for us tonight. Take care, drink some water, stay hydrated, hydrate or dihydrate. I'll say it again, hydrate or dihydrate, and good night.
Give me this. I'm gonna get back when I feel like. You know I don't play right. Just give me the word. You know I don't play right. Don't give me this. I'm gonna get back when I feel like. You know I don't play right. I'll put up a good fight. Just give me the word. You know I don't play right. You know I don't play right. Don't give me this. I'm gonna get back when I feel like.